After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
To some, it's the half mile of mayhem. Others call it the Augusta Nationals of racetracks. For most, it's known as the paperclip. Welcome, one and all, to round 3 of the Bluegrass iRacing Series as we arrive at the longest running venue on the NASCAR schedule, as tonight these drivers prepare to run 250 laps around this historic site, where last season it was home to the most grueling race of the season, and tonight looks no different. Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us this Wednesday evening here at PitStop TV. As always, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as we bring you live flag-to-flag coverage here from Martinsville Speedway. Andrew Cardinelli IV on production, Corey Rexford running the social media pages, Trey Shuttlesworth joining me on the mic, and I am Noah Carmichael. Tonight, the Bluegrass iRacing Series drivers return to one of the most trickiest tracks on the calendar, where we now get set to see the true test of these drivers' machines and durability as the championship fight still rages on. Brandon Robertson charges into tonight hot off his first win of the season in Las Vegas, boosting him to second in the standings, tied with Alan Dobbs as he tries to chase down the defending champion Travis Miller. Trey, as we prepare for an exciting night of action here at the Paperclip, what kind of strategy do you see being the key to winning here tonight?
First of all, Noah, it's a pleasure to be with you in the booth. It's a pleasure to be working with the guys behind the scenes tonight. But no, to briefly answer your question, just based off of our historical trends, which consist of our one lone visit to Martinsville Speedway last season in the Bluegrass iRacing Series, survival is going to be the name of the game. Last year, this was a race that was plagued with cautions in the middle stages of the race. A lot of equipment ended up getting torn up. So you don't necessarily need to be the quickest car here at Martinsville Speedway. If you take care of your equipment, I think you'll be able to potentially do the job here tonight.
Absolutely. Last season, it was no doubt one of the longest races of the schedule due to the plague of cautions that it received. It also ended in probably one of the most controversial finishes of the race season, where Nicholas Nago came across the line first, but sadly, due to a timing and scoring error, he was stripped of the win given to, I believe, Travis Miller, and that was, I believe, the penultimate race up to Kentucky, and that really affected the point standings, and that is exactly what we're going to be looking at here tonight. Travis Miller, your winner from Daytona at the opening round, he finds himself leading once again at 107. Brandon Robertson, who won out last week, boosts himself up 3 positions to -4 back, again, as we talked about in the intro, tied with Alan Dobbs. Ryan Kendall boosting himself up 11 positions up to the 4th position. And then John Kinder, a usual face, dropped down 3 back to 15 points back in 5th.
Yeah, Kendra was someone who had his fair share of struggles last week at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Some other big notables there on the point standings as of our first 2 rounds consist of Adam Lancaster. He definitely climbed up more than, or rather 10 spots last week, and that's after having a very strong run. I think he did well on the stages, and he went on to finish 7th place at the race, and he's coincidentally enough, or wait, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my point standings chart. Lancaster actually went on to finish 6th last week at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and he was rewarded with that with a 10-spot jump in the point standings. And then Chris LeBourgeois was the biggest mover last week at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He finished 5th, and that was good enough to earn him 17 spots in the point standings. He's up into the top 10, and now we move our attention to the cars on the racetrack right now as we get set for 10 minutes of qualifying, single car. However, these guys only get 2 laps to go out there and try to get the job done, as we see John Kinder make contact with that outside safer barrier.
Yeah, like you talk about, one of the trickiest tracks on the Bluegrass calendar, and it's taking out already in the early goings one of its top points fire. You talk about Chris LeBourgeois coming off arguably the best run of his Bluegrass career as of so far, I believe, earning his first top 10 of his career here after just an absolutely outstanding performance in Las Vegas. He comes here tonight at Martinsville trying to back that up and maybe boost himself another few positions to make himself available here in the points standings fight. And you see more and more cars starting to go out there in the early goings. Ryan Kendall in the 68, one of the other strong contenders, is he also goes around to turns 3. I'm not sure if that's maybe a setup issue where they're just loose on entry, or it's just the old occasional short track tire hop that we always see happening to even the pros. But now you see Joshua Abbey, number 5, coming out as he gets ready to start his first run.
And as we say that, he unfortunately gets a little bit of oversteer off the exit of turn 4, and he'll have to go back to the drawing board and try it once more here. Now we are right on board with Daniel Worthington, who he's currently sitting 6th place in points. He didn't finish quite in the top 10 last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It was an absolutely hectic race, but he does, come into tonight pretty decent in terms of the point standings. It looked like he was struggling a little bit off exit. To see where it puts him on the leaderboard. I believe he comes to the completion of a time lap there.
That will boost him up to 3rd. He was one of the first drivers you've seen complete a lap. As you see him dive down here into turns 3 and 4. As you see now, we're going to go back real quick. Having a little bit of issues and technical difficulties with the paint schemes. We're going to try and get that all sorted out. Just a little trial and error. But we're seeing a lot of these drivers struggle here in qualifying early goings. And hopefully that isn't a sight to see of what's going to happen here tonight. I question whether or not it may be the weather effect as we are in December. Maybe, who knows, even though it might not be winter in the game, maybe it's winter here in real life, and it's throwing these drivers off, because right now they're slipping and sliding like they're on an ice rink, and they're really struggling to just get some times down. Right now, Daniel Worthington looking to be one of the faster drivers up there with a 3rd fastest time as we get ready for, like we said, 250 laps, about 131 miles, and is set to be a very tiring race for these drivers, and hopefully they can figure out the setup and be able to put on one heck of a show here for those entire 250 laps.
Yeah, taking a look at our track conditions for tonight, it's kind of odd. We do have a particularly, I would say, optimum track here at the Martinsville Speedway tonight. It's a very cozy 76 degrees, so these drivers should have a lot of temperature available to them in the racetrack. I think these guys are just struggling with the additional horsepower that we didn't see last week at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They do have 750 horsepower and a much smaller spoiler than we've seen in perhaps the 2019 NASCAR visits here to the Martinsville Speedway.
Yeah, you see there on the bottom of your screen, air temperature right now at a cool 75 degrees, partly cloudy. You see up there on the skies, track temp only a degree hotter at 76, but the wind gust 10.6 miles an hour. Maybe that's what's throwing these drivers off, is just the wind gust, along with the high horsepower that they're running compared to what they had at Vegas. You see it dropped drastically, almost half. But you see there on your screen, your top 10 right now, Nathan Maurer apparently holding on to that 10th spot, but John Kinder, who we saw spinning out in his qualifying lap, he actually currently lines up on pole as we reach the halfway point of qualifying. Scott Fritz with a really impressive 2nd. Ronnie Shirk Jr. currently holds on to 3rd, and just the winners in 4th, with Worthington in 5th. Who we're not seeing in the top 10 right now is Travis Miller, surprisingly. Gonna have to see if whether or not he has set a lap, or he's just waiting and biding his time and go out there and put on a flyer.
So yeah, Noah, as you said, we're about halfway through the session, and a lot of guys have been able to go out there and log a time so far tonight. About 27 of our, I want to say roughly 31, 32 cars that are on the entry list tonight have locked a lap so far. So for the most part, things are just about wrapped up. We do have the likes of Dylan Butler, Matt Grenier, Nicholas Noggle, who haven't set a time yet, as well as CJ Mason, and I believe a couple guys that have set times are actually out on the racetrack, such as Brandon Robertson and Justin Winters, who are sitting pretty high on the leaderboard right now as we come to 4 minutes left here in the session.
Looking off of turn number 2, that looks to be the 62. Now looking at the number 3 of Alan Dobbs. As you go, as now they go off of turn number 2 down the back straight. You're not exactly sure who that driver is, but as that was Nicholas Noggle, who we talked about in the opening stint of this broadcast. He was one of the fastest drivers at Martinsville last year. Maybe he can go around and finally get redemption from that win that he was unable to keep last season and put his name up in the catbird seat for this championship fight. Still only about 3.5 minutes left to go here in qualifying. The wind temperature seeming to drop a little bit. That might help some of these drivers a little bit, as Noggle currently sits P10, so he knocks off Nathan Maurer. As you see CJ Barlow up there in 5th, Matt Grenier in 6th, and then Worthington, who we saw in 3rd, has dropped all the way down to 8th. But again, the top 10 is only separated by about 0.2, which is really close to see, especially here on a short track.
It's a good point, Noah. We are at a pretty short track, but there's a lot of places to both gain and lose time. So to see the top 10 within about 0.2 of each other, I think is pretty indicative of a pretty competitive field up front. We do go back to 31st place, and we see a driver, Dylan Butler's at the bottom of the leaderboard right now with the 21.7. So we have a split of about 1.7 seconds. So, but then you narrow it a little bit further. You go to Dakota Shepard, and he's sitting 28th out on the leaderboard with a time of 20.956. So the split is really about 9/10 between the top 28, but then you expand just a little bit further. And there's a couple guys that just weren't able to nail their lap at all here. Of course, they only get 2 laps here tonight, so it's quite understandable.
Something else that's going to be very interesting to watch for tonight is these new conditions that we saw. Last season when we were here, we were running in broad daylight for the entirety of the race going into the afternoon. Tonight, we're going from sunset and to go deep into the night like we saw at Martinsville when the actual Cup Series is here for their playoffs. So that's going to make things a lot more interesting because, as we all know, when short track racing goes under the lights, not only do the lights turn on, but so do the tempers. And even though these drivers run hard and clean together, short track brings out mostly sometimes the worst that you see in each other. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how these drivers tackle, especially with about double the car count that we usually saw from last season, upwards of 31 drivers. So a very big car count coming in here. Once again, looking at the points, we talk about Chris LeBourgeois jumping up 17 spots to 10th. That was a huge jump for him after an incredible run. CJ Mason up there in the 8th position. Daniel Worthington, one of those drivers as well, in 6th. And John Kinder currently running up there in the top 5 in qualifying. He's in 5th. A win here could very much put himself back into the championship fight, as he's only 15 back off Travis Miller. So a win here could go a long way for that championship fight.
You mentioned Travis Miller, and it's worth noting that Miller has elected to not race here at the Martinsville Speedway tonight, and I have to wonder if that one win that he earned earlier in the season, he was our winner at Daytona, actually, to open the season. I wonder if that came into factor, because the Bluegrass iRacing Series did introduce a playoff format similar to what you might see in real life in the NASCAR Cup Series or any other of NASCAR's national series. So perhaps he has elected to avoid this track, knowing that it can be quite chaotic.
Absolutely so. This is one of the tracks where he struggled at, even though he was in the top in the points fight along with Justin Winters. I believe he actually won this race too last season we were here, but still, it's one of those tracks that can really bite you, and you got to know whether it's personal reasons or just he did not want to show up. I don't blame him a bit. This track is one of those tracks that I'm not too particularly fond of. I actually ran a 24-hour charity race here a couple weeks ago, and for the entire 24 hours, there was people getting angry at each other. So maybe he just wanted to avoid that and just enjoy the night off and watch it from abroad and come back and just go back where he left off. Because even though it's only one race, he has that win. So he's already set for the playoffs. So all he has to do is just make sure he shows up, wins these races, and then he can go back and fight for this title and try to back up what he did last season.
I do have a hypothesis from our production booth. Never mind. I think we're getting ready here to guys are gritting up here at the Martinsville Speedway, and we're getting set here for 250 laps at Martinsville. All right, so we're going to look through our 32 drivers here who are on deck and ready for a fun one under the lights for the first time here at the Bluegrass iRacing Series. Of course, this will be the 3rd consecutive week that the series has run under the lights, but as Noah mentioned, last season when we visited Martinsville, it was a daytime event. So John Kinder is going to be leading the field to the green from the inside of row number 1. He will be accompanied by Brendan Robertson. And then we look to row 2. It's going to be Justin Winters and Scott Fritz. Two guys that have been doing a pretty solid job, even if Fritz hasn't had the results to show it quite yet. Next, it's Casey Barlow. He's going to be joined by Matt Grenier. And then Ronnie Shirk and Daniel Worthington will make up row 4. You go back to row 5. We're going to have to speed it up here. Have to remember that the pace laps are quite quick here at Martinsville Speedway. Ryan Kendall and Nicholas Noggle.
Starting back outside the top 10, you're going to find Nathan Maurer. Alongside him is going to be Matt Trenary in number 62. Lining up behind him is going to be the 38 David Brackett alongside family member Wyatt Brackett. Running back there in the 15th position, we're going to find the number 48 of Jack Bauer along with the 83 of Chris LeBourgeois. 17th, we're going to find the 77 of Doug Neal with Adam Lancaster. 19th, you're going to find Alan Dobbs. And then rounding out your top 20 is going to be Bryce Hunter. And we're going to let the rest of your starting grid roll through as we are 1 lap to green here from Martinsville. Pace car already approaching the back straightaway. It's about 32 cars is going to be what you see on the racetrack for the entire 131 miles or 250 laps. As you see, it's a beautiful aerial shot of the Virginia hillsides. As here we go, pace car diving down the way. We thank you for choosing your Wednesday night to spend it with us here in PitStop TV as we prepare for another thriller as they bring it out of turn number 4. John Kinder stacking up the field as he gets ready to go as we are underway here at Martinsville.
32 strong heading into turn 1 for the first time here at the paperclip, and John Kinder is going to get away quite well, nearly a half a second as he heads into turn 3 over Brandon Robertson, who comes in as your defending race winner after his victory at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 1 lap down, 249 to go.
Robertson jumping out to an early race lead as John Kinder jumping out to an early race lead as Robertson running back there in second. Fred's going to hold on to third as Justin Winters falls back to fourth as McInerney rounds out your top 5 as is right now as they get ready to complete lap number 2.
So now that's 2 down as we ride on board here with a pretty, solid onboard perspective there with Robertson coming out of turn 2. And the gap is pretty much stabilized after Kinder, who was able to pull quite a gap through turn 1 on lap 1. It looks like Robertson actually closes up a little bit on the entry of 3 and 4, but if I'd have to guess, he might compromise himself on exit for how much he dived in.
Kinder still leading the way as Robertson trying to close in the gap. Look back there towards the number 51, the half and half of the days of Thunders. We got a wreck approaching on the front straightaway involving the 5 to 77 as they're actually stuck within each other. You see the 46 of Nick Mills as now the caution will come out as the field stops to try and give these guys room as we are now going to find ourselves under caution for the first time here in the early goings.
So that'll be our first one here, and as we look for the origins of the incident, looks like it actually occurs a little bit ahead of these guys. Doug Neal is the one that was initially turned around, and then a couple others do get collected as a result of that. So now we'll go a little bit up and see what caused Neal to get... Okay, and very simply, he does get loose off of the exit of turn 4, and he does collect Alan Dobbs, who comes into tonight tied for second place in the point standings. So that's going to be a very big hit early on in the race for him. No fast repairs for these guys tonight.
Those no fast repairs are really going to hurt these guys. You see a stack up down the front straightaway.
So get one more view there from our stationary camera. Very simply, it's going to, I unfortunately think, going to be an uphill battle for the likes of Alan Dobbs, because that hit looked like it might have caused engine damage. And in the least, it's a track where you can compromise with that potential engine damage, but it's still going to be tough with cars where there's 750 horsepower available. Any hit to the engine block is going to be detrimental.
So as we now find ourselves under caution for the first time, John Kinder still your race leader. Brandon Robertson currently finds himself in second. Justin Winter's going to hold on to the third there at number 52. CJ Barlow currently runs back there in fourth. It's Ronnie Shirk Jr., number 7, going to be in fifth. As now you see the drivers going to have to redo this restart once more, which has already been hectic. If it's anything like last season, it's going to be even more hectic as now the field gets ready to go around one more time to hopefully go back racing, and maybe we can get a few more green flag laps in. We heard one driver possibly getting put on probation for a wreck that was something that happened in the middle of that wreck. So a lot of tensions already being raised as they go into turn number 1.
So we do get the one to go here, and looking at timing and scoring, we have about 27 cars active on the racetrack right now. A couple guys electing to go down onto the pit road. Have to wonder if a couple of guys might have had to retire as a result of damage in that initial incident. Still have most of the field, still have a long way to go, so it's going to be fun to get a little bit of a reset and see if we get a change of pace after John Kinder pulled away on that initial start.
The field now going to wrap around turns 3 and 4 once more. John Kinder, again, your race leader, as Brandon Robertson holds on to second. The green flag is going to fly as they're going to dive it down into turn number 1 as Kinder looks to get another jump as here comes Winters diving down to the inside to possibly take over second.
Here in the Bluegrass iRacing Series, the leader does get control of the lane choice or rather the lane that he wants to restart. And I think we're going to see, just based off of those 2 restarts, see the leaders conventionally go with the inside line here at Martinsville, because you see already a massive advantage for John Kinder over Justin Winters. It's about a half a second after only a lap here. The battle currently, it's Ronnie Shirk Jr. He's having a very strong run as he looks to overtake Brandon Robertson for that final podium spot early here at Martinsville.
Robertson very much struggling the outside, much like we see in real life. If you get stuck on that outside, you just keep falling and falling and falling until you finally find a hole to get yourself on the inside, and finally Robertson's going to see it back there in 4th. But now he has an uphill climb to try and pass not only Ronnie Shirk Jr., but Justin Winters, who is not an easy man to pass here in this series. But still, John Kinder, your pole sitter, still your race leader. He has led every lap of the race so far as you're on board with the 08 of Nicholas Nagel, as we are back under yellow once again here in Martinsville, and it looks to be a wreck further in the back as we wait the replay to see what might have caused that, as the number 68 is going to be the one going around, and we wait for the replay to get an idea of what might have happened.
So Ryan Kendall goes around in the middle of turn 3. We'll go back a little bit farther, but Kendall as we see some instances prior to that involving Alan Dobbs. But Kendall did win, I believe, the stage last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway and had a pretty strong run overall. But we'll head here into the entry of turn 3, and looks like a slight bit of contact there. He's around. Oh, and he does collect. Apologies there. I'm trying to look at our roster here. That is Michael Brisson here. So that might be some engine damage there for Brisson here early at Martinsville Speedway, and it's going to definitely be an uphill battle. We'll ride on board with the roof cam here. Very simply see, he just didn't have too much time to react there for Brisson.
Yeah, very close calls all around as usual here on this tight paperclip half mile. Once again, though, back under caution is going to be now Justin Winters, who's going to have the uphill battle on the restart, having to try and find a way on the inside line when we go back racing. Ronnie Shirk still holding on strongly to that top 5 up there in 3rd, as Robertson now again going to be stuck on the outside, so gonna have to watch out for him to see how he takes this restart if he falls back even more. As you see the race info once again live here in Martinsville, Virginia, as we now have 2 cautions for 7 laps, and John Kinder has led all 14 laps as we are now approaching lap 15. As again, the long haul starting to set in as we only have 2 cautions to split this race in half as a green flag laps, as we still wait for that first green flag run of the night.
Conveniently for Kinder, he's getting these cautions in very short bursts so far, which is making it very easy for him to pull away on these restarts, and he already has about a half a second gap, and it just doesn't give his competitors a lot of time to try to get back up there and try to make a change for the lead. So if you're someone such as Justin Winters, Ronnie Shirk Jr., or Brandon Robertson, who feels you might have the pace to actually get by Kinder here early, you need to hope for at least a few more green flag laps than we're getting so far here.
Now coming off of turn number 4, we're going to have to wait and see if we do in fact get the one-to-go signal from the pace car as he comes across the line. We will. So they're going to double it up once more. Predictably, I would assume that John Kinder is going to take back that inside line, which will force Justin Winters up to the outside. Ronnie Shirk Jr. going to take back 3rd. Robertson 4th. Nagel up to 5th. Matt Grenier in 6th. CJ Barlow 7th. Daniel Worthington 8th, Nathan Maurer climbing his way up to 9th, and Matt Chenary in the number 62 going to take over 10th. Pace car back down onto pit road, handing it back to John Kinder. The 2 black and green machines going to lead us back to the start-finish line as they bring it off of turn number 4. Eyes on that number 21, and he will get racing. He's going to get off to another huge jump, and now Shirk going to be the one to take over the 2nd spot from Justin Winters.
We come off of the exit of turn 2, and Shirk definitely sees the day right there. Excellent job of getting a great reaction on that restart, and it's going to put him pretty well clear into 2nd place. And now Winters is going to continue to fall back. So we see how massive of a disadvantage it can be to restart the race on the outside line. Nagel has passed him into the 3rd position, and now Robertson is looking for that 4th position on Winters.
Robertson now trying to claw his way back up to the field. He stays there in 4th as Winters still falling back. He will find that hole back there in 5th. As you look at the onboard of Kinder, as you see his fast lap of the race currently at 20.1. Right now you're seeing how the tire wear is currently affecting only about 0.2 so far, as he's still running pretty consistent lap times throughout most of the pace, as he continues to try and open up that gap to number 7. Last week it was Chris LeBourgeois surprising many faces running up towards the top 10. Tonight it's going to looks like to be Ronnie Shirk Jr. early goings. We usually see him as a strong contender for around the back of the top 10. Now he's currently a strong contender for the lead as he is getting ready to have to defend from the Toyota of Nicholas Noggle, who was so fast here last season when we came to Martinsville. And now, like I talked about in the pre-race, he looks here for redemption as Justin Winters is still stuck on the outside as he's falling almost back to the 9th position here on this restart as he is really struggling to find his way on the outside, on the inside line.
You may hear the sound of shifting occurring here at the Martinsville Speedway. Oh, as actually, I believe we do get the caution flag. I think we saw, yep, we did see caution lights, but I am hearing that there is a little bit of shifting going on here at the Martinsville Speedway, which adds a whole new element, which we don't always see in real life here.
Yeah, obviously very different what we're used to seeing. Most people have it set up to run in that 4th gear. You know, you see the replay. Nick Mills in number 46 going to be coming off of turn number 4. We're going to have to wait to see. It looks the wreck might be in front of him. It was. See him get on the brakes there. Almost. He does make slight contact there with the 91 of Smith as he tries to get it turned back around, as he now has his entire rear bumper ripped off. So very bad start for the number 91, who's already running in the back. But now it looks to be even going worse for him, as now he's going to have to sit in for to try and get that fixed.
So we backtrack a little bit to try to see what the origin of the incident was. Hang tight here. But we did see that Smith definitely... Okay, so the most that we could see... If I would have to assume, he might have gotten loose off of the exit of turn 4, or perhaps he had a little bit of assistance, but unfortunately a couple other cars will get collected. He was just, unfortunately, parked sideways on the front straightaway, and it makes it very difficult to maneuver your way around that.
We have seen that time and time again. We saw it in qualifying. A lot of drivers struggling in turns 3 and 4. This seems to be the struggle spot for a lot of them. Turn 1 and 2 doesn't seem to be much of an issue, but that turn 4 has been biting drivers left and right. Maybe it has to do with just trying to get back on the gas and spinning the tires as you try to get the run off the corner. But regardless, it is biting a few drivers, and it's currently seem to be the starting spot of a lot of caution, as most of them have either taken place in the turn 3 or 4 area or along the front stretch. But regardless, we're now under caution here for the 3rd time here at lap 24 as Kinder still holding on to the race lead. And now we get to see how well Ronnie Shirk can hold the outside line and whether or not Noggle can capitalize and now boost himself up into 2nd.
It's a good point that you bring up, Noah, about Shirk now being the one to restart on the outside line. It almost, to me, brings up the question of, is it better to really hang tight in the 3rd position here at Martinsville Speedway just because of how dangerous it can be to be on the outside line on a restart? I guess we do have a relatively small sample size right now. This was only our 3rd caution so far, so we haven't had too many restarts yet to get a full indication, but just based off of that last restart for Justin Winters, he did fall back to like the 8th position in a very short time span, so it'll be interesting to see if Shirk can actually maybe not maintain the 2nd position. That's proven to be relatively tough, but if he can hang perhaps in 3rd or 4th position after the initial restart, I think it would probably be a job well done for him.
If you can even hold on to a top 3 spot, that would be impressive to see happen. Because we saw what happened to Robertson, he fell back to 5th. We saw what happened to Winters, he falls all the way back to 8th. So again, that outside line has been a real nail biter for a lot of drivers, because one of the most infuriating things about trying to drive around this track is getting on the inside line, because you just keep falling further and further back. At the moment you see a hole, someone fills it up and you fall another position back, and it's just trying to find the exit lane on a highway. And during rush hour, nobody wants to give it to you. Every time you see you got your turn signal on, someone speeds up. It is just an infuriating time, and that's exactly what I feel a lot of these drivers are going to be experiencing here tonight. Pace car lights off once more as the field getting ready to dive it back down pit road. So now it is Kinder, still your race leader. 0 lead changes have taken place, but now is the number 7 Chevrolet of Shirk Jr., who's going to be now the victim of the outside line and how well he can hold it. Green flag back in the air. Kinder looks to have another strong jump. This time, Shirk dives down to the inside. He's going to block Noggle, as he is not going to be a victim of that. He holds on to 2nd.
Strong reaction time there from Shirk, and then he did it was a very aggressive block, but it was a completely fair block to make here at Martinsville Speedway, so a very good job by Ronnie Shirk Jr. And now we get to see if perhaps he can challenge, see if maybe he does have the pace to challenge for that race leader of John Kinder. We ride on board with Brandon Robertson, who has a bird's eye view of the battle for the lead that begins to brew.
John Kinder still holding on to the race lead. He doing exactly what he's been doing every single restart. He jumps out to that race lead and he kisses everybody else goodbye, and he's going to try and do the exact same thing. A half-second lead is what separates them from the number 7. As you look further back in the field, that is Nathan Maurer, 97, fighting CJ Barlow. You see Alan Dobbs in the number 3. He's now fighting Justin Winters. Winters now barely hanging on to the top 10. He had to restart on the outside once again, and he is just very much struggling to find his way back to the inside lane, and now that's really going to cost him, as now Alan Dobbs looks to fight David Brackett for the 8th position as they single foul themselves out to complete lap number 30, as now Wyatt Brackett in 33 going to try and chase down Winters, as Winters again just struggling to make the entry to hold on to that inside line.
So the new competitor behind Winters, challenging Winters, is the 33 of Wyatt Brackett. We go a little bit forward, back up to see Alan Dobbs, who I believe he was involved in an earlier incident where he had another competitor head on, but I don't think the damage was too bad for him because he's continuing to make his way through the field at a fairly efficient rate. Now it's Nathan Maurer, who he is trying to go to the inside of, and this, if he can pull it off, will be for the 7th position. So we have to wonder if perhaps he does have the pace to potentially challenge John Kinder, Ronnie Shirk Jr., Nicholas Doggle for the race lead.
Barlow now running wide in turns 1 and 2. That's going to allow Dobbs to get on the inside. He's going to have the run down the back straightaway. He's going to go late on the brakes and possibly clear him in a quarter. Now he's going to set his sights on Grenier. Right now looks to be your biggest mover of the restart is just the number 3 of Dobbs. He has really started to show his muscle. He showed it last week at Vegas, being one of the strong contenders for the race win, fighting there with Robertson up to the very end. He led about the most laps of the race, as now Barlow going to have to fight off Maurer for the 7th position. He's going to run wide again, and now he's going to struggle to find his way to the bottom, as now he has an entire train of cars behind him, so his best interest right now might be just get on the brakes, fall behind Maurer, and just take that slot before it fills back up. But no, he's going to try and bring the fight to hold on to that position.
It's very interesting to see Barlow utilize a very wide line there through turn 1 and 2. Normally you see guys tend to crowd the guys who are on their inside here at Martinsville Speedway, but he's utilizing a lot of the racetrack, even going up beyond the concrete in the corners here at Martinsville. Unfortunately, he does have to concede for the time being, and maybe he doesn't have the pace right now for Maurer, but he's in a pretty comfortable spot if he can get back into a rhythm here, although Justin Winters is challenging as we ride on board here with Wyatt Brackett.
Looking out of the nose at number 33 is now he sets sights on David Brackett as he exits off turn number 4 with a big amount of run. He's talking about one of the drivers shift, a lot of the drivers hearing shifting. Well, it looks to be he's one of them. He's shifting all the way down to, look, I don't know if that's actually accurate because I highly doubt someone's going to shift all the way down to 2nd, but I have been surprised before as now he sets his sight on number 38 Alienware Chevrolet as he enters turns 3 and 4. As again the fight between Barlow and Maurer raging on as Winters has nothing to do except just sit back and watch, but what he's also watching is that gap from 7th to 6th really stretching. It is now almost 3 seconds, and Winters is just having to see that number 3 get smaller and smaller and smaller as he is trying to find a way by him. As he gets the bumper from Brackett entering turn number 3, very early goings, and I don't know if that was just an accident of a late break or maybe trying to attempt at a bump and run, but that's not what you want to do to the defending runner-up of the championship this early in the race.
Very interesting to see that early in the race. We'll have to see if that potentially comes into play later on tonight. So now we backtrack. Wow, that was a deep send there. Lancaster is fortunately rather able to save his car after that contact there on corner entry. That's Matt Trineri, who is a newcomer to the Bluegrass iRacing series. He's had some pretty consistent runs. I don't believe he enters tonight top 10 in the points, but a good run here at Martinsville Speedway could definitely do the job. While we don't have the 43 cars that we saw at Daytona International Speedway, still 32 strong here at Martinsville Speedway, so definitely a lot of points on hand tonight.
Looking back further through the field, you're now looking at Wes Wiegand trying to fight off to number 1 as Scott Fritz in the turn at number 1 as he's going to clear him exiting turn number 2. The 77 of, I believe, trying to figure out who that is as they go down back down into turn number 3 as Wiegand now going to clear him and set his sights back on Trineri as he currently tries to fight with the Ghostface Brewing Company machine of Adam Lancaster. But still your race leader, John Kinder, who is trying to hold off Ronnie Shirk Jr. and then has a healthy margin back there to Brandon Robertson. As it's still the fight between Brackett and Maurer raging on, but Winters finally has gotten around him, and now he's going to try and set his sights on Barlow as Maurer's the one falling back to the field. As now he's going to be stuck on the outside trying to find his way in. It looks like he finally found it, but now he has a mirrorful of Jack Daniels, and that is Daniel Worthington in the 113.
That's a great partnership, have to say, as now we go on a cam that you normally see at the short racetracks here in real life in NASCAR, and that's the bumper camera. And now we're looking to see if, in the 11th position, that's Daniel Worthington, see if he can actually get into the top 10 and overtake Nathan Maurer right now. He's going to utilize a pretty wide line, and that might potentially compromise him as Lancaster looks to the inside. Not going to be enough this time by. Lancaster is going to go yet again to the inside. He might have enough momentum. He will be there off of the exit of turn 4, and he'll be able to challenge onto the entry of 1.
Ghost Face Brewing Company machine now into turn number 3, as he's now going to clear the number 113 as he exits off of turn number 2 as he sets sights on number 97. You talk about the nose cam. Well, we're going to have to maybe send some inquiries to some of these drivers to help pay for the repairs, because they're going to be damaging quite a few of them from what we're seeing, as they have just been relentless with these using the bumpers here, nearly going just late on the brakes, maybe trying to give each other shots. Regardless, you're seeing a lot of bruised bumpers as the 113 gets loose. Little tail happy exiting turn number 2. He holds on to it, as now he's going to have to try and fend off from was Wigan, who tries to take a peek to the inside. Not going to happen, but Wigan regardless, or my bad, Roberts, number 113 of Worthington, going to go high out of turn number 4, and that's going to cost him a lot of time as they're back into 1.
Despite all of that, he's able to hang on to the spot right now. So he was challenging for the top 10 a little bit ago, but now he's going to have to settle in. Probably try to cool off those tires a little bit as well, because that's definitely going to bring a lot of heat into the tires, and it will reduce your grip. Alan Dobbs makes his way up to the 4th position now, so we have to see if, potentially he'll challenge for the lead. But now we look back up for what is the battle for the top 10. It is still Lancaster and Maurer battling for that final spot in the top 10 right now.
Lancaster and the Ghost Race Brewing Brims 1 machine. Right now, those two teammates running first in about 11th, almost having a 1st and 10th spot as Lancaster trying to bring the fight. You see the 71, that is lap traffic as they go down to the 1 days. Now, we talk about it, just how big this field is. It took them about maybe 40 laps to catch the rear field, just like last time with the cautions. It only took them about 50 to catch up to the rear of the field. As now we're going to have the full train of cars around Martinsville, which is going to make it very much harder to try and find your line. You see Kinder now fighting with Shirk Jr. as the fight for the lead raging on. He's going to be blocked by the 91 exiting turn number 2, which is going to allow Kinder to get that run. But now Robertson and now Dobbs fighting in there. The top 5, thanks to this lap traffic, has really brought the fight back close. And now here comes Dobbs, maybe making a move for the 3rd position.
A little bit of contact there on entry for the outside wall for both Robertson and, and so that is going to put Alan Dobbs up into the final podium position. That little bit of accidental contact there onto the entry of turn 1. And now Robertson cannot relax at all, because now it's Nicholas Noggle. He's the last car in the top 5, and he could be looking for the 4th spot now.
Noggle, very aggressive, as we usually seen him from the get-go. When he showed up here to Bluegrass last season, he has made himself known as a guy. If he finds that hole, he will go down there and make his move and will not hesitate to give someone a shot to make it happen. As now he tries to set his sights on trying to get around Robertson, while also having to keep an eye on the 15 of Grenier, who is not too far behind. Justin Winters holding back there in the 7th spot. A pretty wide margin behind after the fight that was taking place between Maurer and Barlow, as now we're back under yellow once again, as we wait to see who caused that, as we are just under 200 laps to go here in Martinsville, as now we're back behind the protection of the safety car, and it looks like it might be the 37.
So we will, that is what we've been seeing a lot today, which is drivers getting in a little bit loose. That's Alex Brown, a newcomer here to the Bluegrass iRacing Series. He very simply puts a little bit too much throttle down on the exit of turn 4. It'll send the car around, and he will catch the inside safer barrier. Does have to utilize that toe as well, so that is definitely going to put him out of contention here for probably a top 10 without a lot of attrition. But if I were him, you definitely want to think with the points mindset and get back out there and get engine repairs if entirely possible.
And now you see, along with that, the pits are now open. We're seeing our first takers of the leaders as they get set to use their tires. Kinder, along with some of the drivers down there, but Dobbs is going to stay out, along with Nicholas Noggle and the 91, who might have been trying to get a waiver on. He might actually pick up the lucky dog he does. So Ryan Smith, your lucky dog, he'll take his wave round and go back to the end of the field, possibly go back in for tires. But now we see the comers and goers on pit road as we wait to see the race off.
It'll be Ronnie Shirk Jr. followed by Adam Lancaster in the it won't be this. It'll be the 2nd position off pit road rather. It's going to be about 6th place on the racetrack. It looks like, just looking at our timing screens. Very interesting to see guys come down and take some tires this early. Drivers only have 3 additional sets of tires here over the course of 250 laps. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys are able to manage their remaining 2 sets of tires for the drivers that did come down pit road this time.
Absolutely. The tires are so much of a critical fashion here. Most of these tracks you talk about, it's the fuel you have to worry about. But here at a track like Martinsville, it's the tires, because these fuels can get you about almost the entire race. They hold quite a bit for a track this short, but the tires, no, they don't hold well. These short corners in the concrete on the bottom, it really eats these Goodyear E-Eagles up. So now on lap 55 is going to be Dobbs now taking over the race lead. Noggle now going to be stuck on the outside of the front row, and Shirk now finds himself back in the third. Remember on the last restart, Shirk, when he was starting in second, pulled the block on Noggle to hold on to that second spot. Maybe see if the favor is returned by the number 08. Jack Bauer in number 48, he lines up fourth as Kinder falls back to fifth. Robertson going to take over sixth. Seventh going to go to Nathan Maurer. Justin Winters back up to the eighth. Matt Grenier in ninth, and Worthington currently holding on to that last stage point in the 10th position. Looking at your weather once more, the temperatures drop a little bit as the sun has gone down. Air temperature down to 74 degrees. Track is about 8 degrees hotter as the temperature is 78, and the wind still holding consistently at 9 miles an hour coming from the north as the pace car lights are going to go off, and we're going to go green once again here from the paperclip.
Very interesting to see that the track temp drops a little bit. It could be a number of things. It could be because the temperatures are continuing to drop here, or it could be because of this caution flag, just because we're not seeing the Goodyear Eagles putting out all of their maximum performance here at the Martinsville Speedway for a couple of minutes as we get reset and ready to go here for another restart. I believe this will be our 4th or 5th. Going to be interesting to see how Noggle handles the outside line.
Dobbs is a very wider entry to the corner compared to what we saw at Kinder. As the green flag going to come back out, Dobbs holding on to the race lead, as now we're going to see what Noggle does. He's actually going to get the jump with Dobbs, and he's going to hold on to second. Shirk going to fall back to third. Bauer, though, going to struggle back there to fourth as Kinder takes that position over, as now Bauer going to have to hold on to the fight with Robertson. But still, Alan Dobbs, just like last week, he holds on to the race lead. It's a big stack up on behind, as now Robertson going to the outside to try and make the move for the 5th spot.
Very interestingly, that is the first restart where John Kinder is not in control here at Martinsville Speedway, and he seems to do a pretty effective job. I believe he restarted in about the 5th position, and he's currently in the 4th spot, only about a second down on the race leader, Alan Dobbs. And so far, Ford tires not taking tires seem to be holding up for the likes of Alan Dobbs and Nicholas Noggle, but I'm sure those 4 tires will be coming into effect quite soon here.
We also got to remember Dobbs started further back in the field, so maybe he didn't push his tires as hard as drivers like Kinder did, who had to pick, as he was more on the offense and just trying to get around some of the slower traffic and not trying to hold off from second. Now looking on board with the number 21 as he tried to chase down Shirk entering into turn 1, as he has Noggle right in front of him, as the fight still raging on. Is now Robertson taking a peek to the outside, as now the fight for third is now up to 3 cars, almost 4 cars for the 2nd spot, as Noggle's starting to slip a little bit to them as Dobbs starts to try to run away with this.
Very interesting so far tonight to see that the outside line it's been fairly effective for the most part. You haven't necessarily been able to pull off a lot of overtakes, but you've been able to manage on the outside line sometimes for a few laps at a time, and then buy enough time to be able to get down to the inside line. As you've mentioned so many times, Noah, it's very critical that if you get stuck in the outside, that you find a gap on the bottom so that you can get back to utilizing the proper racing line here. And now I'm sorry, go for it.
It's all good. Noggle now going to be stuck on the outside line. He's going to drop down 2 spots, and now Robertson going to fill that hole. So once again, just like trying to find the next lane on the interstate during rush hour, Noggle's trying to do the same. He does find it back there in the comfort of 4th. Now here comes Robertson, not wasting any time. He jumps to the inside. He's going to hold off on that idea for a bit, as we are back under caution. Once more here on lap 64, I believe our 5th caution of the race. That is the 88. It was Wick who's going to back up in front of the 91 as he's going to get it back rolling, as we're going to have to wait to see replays. Oh, he gets turned by the number 33 of Brackett, as we're going to see how that all started.
So we backtrack a little bit, about a corner prior to when the incident actually occurs in the middle of turns 3 and 4. But it looks like the perpetrator in this case might be Wyatt Brackett. A little bit hard to tell if it might have been a racing incident. It looked like there might have been a gap on the inside line for a little bit. He tried to go down, but then the gap closed. It depends on your perspective. I would say racing incident, a little hard to determine. Definitely some aggressive racing early at Martinsville, but it's just a product of the racetrack, very simply.
Yeah, you see on the onboard was Wiggin. He ran a little wide. Wyatt Brackett saw the hole on the inside, went for it, and it just closed up as Wiggin jumped down to the bottom. But you see it out of that rear end camera. You see a lot of drivers hitting each other, just a lot of accordion effect, beating and banging with the bumpers, trying to slow down and avoid that. But sadly, nowhere to go, and it just caused a lot of banged up fenders. As that's going to bring us back under yellow. You see once again Wiggin just getting spun around by the 33 Brackett, who actually joined up in front of the field, which caused that stack up as Wiggin chose to tow instead of try to get going. No, actually he did. It was just a disappearance as he does back up in front of the 91 thinking he's clear. 91 wisely goes down to the bottom to avoid that, but now he's going to fall all the way to the back and possibly going on pit road as he finds himself all the way back in 19th now.
So it'll be a stop to his momentum for the time being, and we'll get a little bit of a reset here. About 66 laps here completed at Martinsville Speedway so far. And on this particular pit cycle, don't see many drivers come down pit road. Alan Dobbs does not. Nicholas Noggle also does not. These guys haven't had a pit stop yet today. We do see Daniel Worthington on pit road, and then I also believe I saw Dylan Butler elect to come down onto pit road. So it might be damage repair for these guys. I think I saw a little bit of cosmetic damage there on the 113. Could also be tires as well, though.
Dobbs falling back in the running order. He might have come down pit road as well, but he is falling further down the field. As now, actually, it looks like a weird bit of timing scoring error as he actually still holds on to the race lead. So that was just a little bit of timing scoring mixed up there. He still holds on to the race lead. Kinder going to hold back in second. Robertson, who almost went for the move, holds on to third. Noggle falls back to fourth. It's Ronnie Shirk back there in the fifth spot as we get set to go racing once more as we are about 40 laps away from the 100 mark here of tonight's race as we close closer and closer in on that halfway stage break to see who gets those top 10 stage points, which is going to heat up even more of what we saw from Vegas a week ago.
Yeah, we just surpassed the halfway point to the halfway point, which I guess, you know, would very simply be the quarterway point here. But if we're looking at the stage break, it is about halfway to it. And then you do see a couple of the partners here with the Bluegrass iRacing Series, such as Rims 1, Wheels, Tires, and Accessories. And then we also have the likes of, I'm trying to remember the new insurance partner who came aboard with Nick Mills.
The sponsor is going to be the Rims 1 Tires and Wheels Accessory, and then the Milner Media and Design Group, your sponsors for this week here at Martinsville. So again, the field going to double up once again. The pace car going to take the dive down to the pit road. Again, Dobbs going to elect to take a wide entry, forcing Kendrick up in the outside. But Kendrick, he's been leading it most of the way to see how he handles that outside line as we go back racing. Dobbs going to hold on to the race lead, going to cut up in front of Kendrick as he holds on to second, entering into turn number 1 as Robertson going to have to look again at the back bumper of that Ford Mustang as we look out the bumper of the number 3 as he tries to do what Kinder did when he took the lead, and that's run away from the number 21.
We continue to ride on board here with our race leader, and it's Kinder who quickly made his way up from, I believe it was the 5th spot on the last restart we saw. So definitely some pretty strong pace for Kinder, even if he doesn't have control of the field on the restart. So I definitely think he's proving himself to be a strong contender here at the Martinsville Speedway. He does have a little bit of a challenge from behind, though, in Brandon Robertson, who's holding tight in the 3rd spot. And we do have a caution flag here yet again. I believe it's number 6 here at Martinsville Speedway.
Dobbs still on the gas a little bit, maybe trying to catch up to the pace car as we look as the 38 of David Brackett, who went around to turn number 4 to see what happened to him. See Chris LaBourgeois up there on the outside as he enters it into turn number 3. Going to see how he lost it. Oh, just sent a little bit deep. Oh, Nick Mills actually got spun around. You see Ed Osborne getting involved in that. A huge stack up there, and that's what sent Brackett around, but it just looks like an ill-timed pump by Osborne that sends that 46 around as he was trying to fight Wes Wiggin back there for about a top 20 position. As you see, the Wiggin actually had to back off to avoid hitting Ryan Kendall, but instead that caused Osborne just to get up in the mills, causing a huge stack up on behind.
Definitely a lot of cars there collected there. I think there were some minor issues with rendering, so it was having a little bit of difficulty of seeing all the cars that were involved, but we in the least saw the origins of the incident. Not sure what happened there for Mills. It looks like he might have had some handling issues mid-quarter. Maybe he was struggling with a car that was oversteering, and he lost a ton of momentum, and from there, contact ensued, collecting quite a few cars here.
So once more, we're back under caution here at Martinsville. Kinder now your new race leader, as it looks like Dobbs has now finally elected to bring it down pit road for his tires and fuel. So now it's going to be Kinder, your race leader. Robertson back there in second. Grenier now jumping up to third. Matt Trineri in the fourth spot. Ronnie Shirk Jr. in fifth. Justin Winter is going to be promoted to sixth. CJ Barlow in seventh. Nathan Maurer in eighth. Scott Fritz boosting himself up to ninth. And then Wyatt Brackett in the number 33 Red Bull Chevrolet rounds out your top 10 as we again closing in further and further on the halfway stage break. As again, going to heat up, but you see the sponsors on the side of your screen with the guys such as Tucson Sound Art, as we pull up our beautiful promoters who help us do these things week in and week out. You said Tucson Sound Art, your picture, your music, you provide the image you want, and we'll custom create a beautiful framed high quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional information. Also want to give a shout out to Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. At Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine, the owner Ashley Boulier, a certified micropigmentation specialist, supervises professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call / text them 207-358-8683. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine a call today to book a consultation. And if you visit their Facebook page, Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine, you can enter one of their monthly giveaways. Enter today, and who knows, you might just win. And then lastly, give a shout out to Whiplash Media, PitStop TV's new parent organization. Whiplash Media specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Go to whiplash-media.com for more information. As now the field doubling up once again for this restart. John Kinder going to get back on the gas. Robertson going to hold on to second, but again going to struggle there on the outside, as now Grenier going to take a peek for the runner-up spot. It looks to be almost a 4-1-2, as now Shirk going to bring his fight back there in the top 5 spot as he tries to fight off Matt Trineri there for the 5th position as they go around turns 3 and 4 to complete lap number 77.
Unfortunate struggle there on the outside line there for Brandon Robertson. He does only drop about 1 spot, which is not the worst we've seen so far tonight, but we've also seen drivers such as Nicholas Noggle be able to defend very well from the outside line. Or actually, I believe I have the wrong driver. Is Ronnie Shirk Jr., who would have done that a bit earlier. Another caution flag here at Martinsville. A couple more drivers involved here. Looks like it was also pretty large.
The number 77 to Doug Neal once again getting involved now in turns 1 and 2. You see Jack Bauer on behind. You see the replay here. That is the number 9 on behind. That is Bryce Hunter as they bring it down to the turn number 1. Oh, Hunter with a very late send on the brakes, and that sends Doug Neal around. Jack Bauer getting involved. Ryan Kendall getting a piece of that as well. The 37, the state of Indiana machine, also coming close to contacts, as that was a very risky maneuver that cost a lot of drivers some damage there as you take it on board there with Hunter. So again, he sent in pretty deep in turns 3. Tried to do it again in turn 1, but there was nobody home, and he just ended up sending that number 77 all the way to packing for the outside wall, as that was a very hard contact, as Kendall saw it coming but couldn't do anything to avoid it. He gets a piece of that as well.
Yeah, definitely, very simply, pretty late on the brakes there. I don't quite think there was the hole either to try to make it work, and yeah, driver error, it happens sometimes here, especially at a place like Martinsville Speedway. And unfortunately, cautions continue to breed cautions here. Have about, we're under 50 laps here to the end of the stage break, and we will get a chance to reward drivers with some points there at that stage break as well.
Ed Osborne, now you're going to be your lucky dog for this caution. We are now on our 7th caution for 33 laps. We have seen two lead changes so far, switching from John Kinder to Alan Dobbs, now back to John Kinder. Grenier now going to be the driver struggling on the outside. He's going to have to try and find his way there to the inside. If Robertson knows anything, and we know him as well as we think we do, he's probably going to close that hole up. So prepare to see Grenier try to struggle to find his home on the inside line to try and hold on to a top 5 spot as we get ready to approach the about 40 to go mark in this stage. 125 going to be your halfway stage break in this race, as the pace car lights still on here at Martinsville Speedway, as Kinder just again logging these laps as he has been almost the entirety of the race, as he has just comfortably sat behind that pace car and just had a pretty smooth Sunday drive with these cautions, just racking up these laps led.
Yeah, Kinder's doing a very effective job. He did very well in qualifying. And he's been doing very well in the race. Of course, he hasn't had to make his way all the way through the field, but he proved that his pace wasn't just, single car, not having to race with any traffic. He was able to go from about the 5th spot up to first place with some pretty skillful driving and a little bit of help from some caution flags. That'll definitely help in some cases to bunch the field back up and minimize track position loss. But he's been doing a very effective job, 8+ job so far tonight. Looks like we do get that one to go, and as you said, Noah, I think it'll be interesting to see how the 15 is able to manage the outside, especially with the likes of Robertson and Shirk Jr. behind him.
Coming down the back straightaway once more, pace car lights on that Ford Mustang is off. It's going to be Kinder, Grenier, Robertson, Shirk, Winners, Trineri, Barlow, Fritz, Brackett, and Maurer, your top 10. As now you see Kinder, as we usually see him do, all the way down towards the bottom as he sets off of turn number 4. We're going to wait to see. More likely going to go up the line. He does. And we're back racing here at Martinsville, as now Grenier going to try and make a move on the outside. Nobody home. He's going to have to quickly find a way to the inside before Robertson gets the run to try and take over second. He will, so he will hold on a second, as now Winners going to promote himself to 4th around Ronnie Shirk Jr., as now Shirk have to fight off Trineri back there around the 5th spot.
A little bit loose off exit there for Justin Winters. He's going to be able to save the car, and at least for the time being, he will continue to hang on to that 4th spot. So after that poor restart earlier in the race for Winters, where he dropped to around the back end of the top 10, he's finally made his way back up into the top 5. It'll be interesting to see if he can challenge the top 3 for a podium spot right now. Kinder continues to lead here, and Grenier, after that very brave initial restart, falls back to second. We do have a car around off the exit of turn 4, and it will cause another caution flag here.
8th caution today. That is going to be the number 18 of Gary Jizorowski, as he now is a victim of turn number 4 as well. Down the back straightaway, filing Daniel Worthington and the 9 once more. As you have to see what might have caused this incident, as you see Alan Dobbs behind him. Oh, he actually got a little bit wide, trying to find a way home. Got a little bit loose, and then Dobbs just helps him finish it off with just nowhere to go, giving that slight contact. And everybody actually misses him, so no real damage to anybody else. He held the brake, stayed where he was, and everybody was able to avoid that. Only a little bit of damage to the front nose of number 18, as now he gets it back going, as we're going to have to see just what this caution is going to do once more. As again, these drivers are very much struggling to get these long runs, and you see him just struggling hard to try and find the groove there in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble getting back onto the throttle, and then a little bit of assistance there from Alan Dobbs, it looks like, when he was about halfway between being able to either save the car off exit or lose it. And kudos to the field behind him. There were a lot of guys who had to make their way past that stopped vehicle, so a great job to everyone all around there.
Absolutely. So once again, now under caution for the 8th time here today, going to see who comes down pit road, who stays out. I don't expect a whole lot of people to come in. A little bit of fakers, maybe with Robertson running all the way down on the inside line. Maybe just trying to find some entertainment, because we talked about in the pre-race, this is one of those tracks that not only tests the durability of machines, but also tests durability mentally. This is one of the most grueling races on the calendar just because of how long it is. The laps might say 250, but just how long these caution flags go and how many of them we get, it's just a very mentally grueling race for these drivers compared to what you usually see at Charlotte for the Coke 600. That's kind of what it feels like to drive around Martinsville, especially with these caution laps, as we still look for that first long green flag run as we get ready to approach lap about 10 laps away from lap 100. So we're talking about approaching that 25 to go mark here in stage 1. here at Martinsville, as John Kinder still looking to be the odds-on favorite to possibly win that stage, barring any incidents that might take him out of that.
But as we know, a lot can happen here at Martinsville Speedway. But I think, like you said, Noah, it's probably going to take a lot to upset him right now, upset his chance for stage points here, and especially the stage victory, just because Kinder has proven to have absolute raw pace tonight. He did take the pole position tonight here at Martinsville Speedway, which is very impressive. It's a racetrack where there's a lot that you could both gain or lose just because of how heavy you have to get on the brake on the entry of the corner. And then you have to be oh so delicate getting back onto the throttle in the middle of the corner here at Martinsville Speedway, with 750 horsepower available to you, and really not a lot of downforce compared to recent years, as you might have seen in real-life NASCAR. And on top of that, these drivers also have cold tires when they're on their qualifying runs. The tires aren't up to their optimum temperatures, so the cars are even more delicate.
Pace car lights off once more atop the Ford iRacing Mustang. Kinder, again, as usual, going to elect that bottom side of the track. And you see that beautiful aerial shot here as the lights shine on Martinsville. No, this is not NASCAR Thunder 2004. You have not unlocked that Thunder plate you looked for so long. You're not running a modified either. This is what you see in real life now, as the long-awaited lights have been installed here in Martinsville. And now we see it in iRacing. It's been such a beautiful add-on, and now we get to see these drivers running under the lights once more. Kinder off of turn number 4. Going to lead the field back to the green and wait for that white line. He gets hard on the gas. Grenier going to hold on to second, but Robertson gets an even better restart. He's going to take over second, and then here comes Winters down the inside and try and capitalize on the 15 being stuck up there.
On this particular restart, Grenier actually catches the outside wall, and he is also going to fade. Even before that initial contact, he didn't get off of the restart box too well, and he will, as a result, fall back to about the 4th position for the time being. So in the lead, he does settle in to that single file spot, getting back to the optimum racing line. That's behind him. Matt Trineri is trying to make work of the outside line, and he is actually able to utilize the outside line to clear Ronnie Shirk Jr., and he will secure the final top 5 spot for the time being.
Trineri on the 5th, Ronnie Shirk Jr. back there in 6th. A little bit of blink from Scott Fritz there in 7th, as you now see CJ Maurer back. My bad. Trying to find where that number. CJ Barlow back there in 8th. Nathan Maurer is the one in 9th, as he actually gets passed by Adam Lancaster there for the final, for about the 9th position. And now Maurer looking back there in 10th. As again, you see Matt Trineri and Shirk holding on to that top 5 spot. As now look who's also making his way back up to the field after that pit stop. Alan Dobbs has the freshest tires of anybody on the racetrack as of right now. He has now found himself back in that top 10 spot, and with about 130 laps to go, 30 laps to go here in stage 1, he now looks to be in a great position as they are back under caution, as it looks like we might have a caution in about the turns 1 and 2, actually on the back straightaway, involving that number 71 of Michael Brisson. We're going to see exactly what brought it out and what involved that number 71 English Motors. Trying to figure out if that was a Mustang or not, since the nose has been ripped off of it for quite a while. He catches the curving there, and turn number 1 going to right a little bit wider. Oh, he actually catches Ed Osborne, the 42, and that is about a destroy hit for the number 42. Already lost his nose, but that is a very hard contact for number 42. He keeps it going, but he lost his spoiler in that, so that is a very, very costly damage to the number 42, as we are now back under yellow once again, as Kinder's still holding on. Robertson now going to be the one back, stuck on the outside, with the Winters now up to 3rd. We talked about Alan Dobbs, who now up to 10th. He's going to have about close to maybe 25-20 to go. He has the freshest tires. It's going to be very interesting to see how he can capitalize and maybe take over a few more stage points and maybe take a stage win away here in this race, as the caution laps still adding on here as the night goes on. Nick Mills, as we saw, usually back down pit road to get some damage repair that might even suffer, or maybe just top off fuel to try and play the strategy a little bit different from everybody else. But regardless, he's now going to exit that Mills Insurance Agency number 46 back onto the racetrack, and they avoid going a lap down, as the field's still snaking their way around this half mile of mayhem, which is certainly earning its name here tonight.
Oh yeah, it's been Martinsville, and sometimes that's just very simply the case, where cautions tend to breed more and more cautions. Short tracks will do that sometimes. Drivers get very aggressive. It can be very hard to make up ground once you get into a long run and get into a bit of a rhythm, and it just creates, the phrase "cautions breed cautions" continues to hold true in some cases. So you did mention that Alan Dobbs is on the freshest tires here. Some other drivers who are on, if you want to call it, alternative strategies here at Martinsville Speedway include him and Nicholas Noggle, who are on tires that are about 15 to 20 laps fresher than all of the other leaders. And then otherwise, you also have Ryan Kendall, who's on tires that are only 19 laps old, as opposed to most of the leaders who are on tires that are about 45 laps old. Kendall's sitting in about the 16th position. And then also Daniel Worthington is on tires that are about 32 laps old. He sits in 14th right now.
So a lot of different varying strategies playing out just of how long these cautions have rolled on here tonight. We'll see if the pace car light does go out or not. It will. So now the 21 going to take it back down to the bottom. Robertson going to take it back up to the top as Winters now prepares for the third spot to be capitalized and take over runner-up. Regardless, the only thing I can see maybe taking Kinder out of that lead as of right now is if Winters tries to give him the bumper going to turn number 1, because right now on these restarts he has been the fastest guy to do it, or possibly take it over as we get set to go racing once again. Now coming through turns 3 and 4. Once again, Kinder back in control of the race. The green flag back in the air. Kinder going to get that restart. A little bit of a tire spin, and the same for Matroneri, as actually looks like Robertson might hold on to that second spot going into turn number 1, as now we are again under yellow as a big stack up there in turns 1 and 2, and it is C.J. Barlow, and that 51 half and half days of Thunder Machine finds himself going around, and now he is going to have to fall to the rear of the field. This is going to cause a big shakeup there for that top 10.
For Casey Barlow there, it is going to be the temporary end of a run inside of the top 10. He's going to have to probably make his up about 10 or 15 spots to get back up to where he was, and it just looks like a little bit of contact behind. And then as a result of that, he also sees one or two other people make some contact with him near the front of the cart, so it could potentially be some engine damage there for Casey Barlow as a result of that. He's currently sitting 25th, which is the lowest he's been all night so far.
Looking back there at the restart, a little bit of a stack up there towards the mid of that top 10 as he makes it down into turn number 1. Just gets a little bit of, actually, yeah, just full-on netcode there was number 3 at Dobbs. Luckily, I was about to say he got out of that unscathed, but sadly looks like the 83 of Chris LeBourgeois gets a little bit of contact with the nose. Doesn't look to be too big of a problem for him, but regardless, that is going to be a huge blow after having such a strong run. Now on board Alan Dobbs as they go look back here on a restart as they send it back down to the turn 1. It looked like he was going to try and maybe squeeze his way in there, but sadly just a little bit of net code sends him around, and sadly there's not much he can do about an incident like that. Obviously not really at fault of either drivers, just wrong place at the wrong time. The net code now bites the number 51 of Casey Barlow.
Despite how wide the corners are here at Martinsville 2, 3 wide can be incredibly sketchy just because the lanes tend to narrow once you get onto the straightaways. So anytime you take that risk of going 3 wide at Martinsville Speedway, in most cases you kind of have to hope that you're at least double wide as you come off of the exit of the corner. But otherwise, we're looking at about 20 laps left here in the stage. John Kinder has a couple of new challengers at this point in time. Brandon Robertson and Justin Winters have now made their way onto the podium at the moment, and I think they have a good chance at potentially challenging Kinder despite his strength so far tonight.
Now looking at, interestingly, Casey Barlow running up there at the front. I'm curious what might have caused this incident, but regardless, he is still the one in front of John Kinder. Whether he might stay there or not is the question, or maybe he just spun out and got stuck behind the pace car. But regardless, that is going to be a very big problem for John Kinder if he does in fact stay there, because that might force him now with nowhere to go but the outside line, as now they come across the start finish line. Pace car lights are going to be off, and it looks like he might just stay there. Oh no, he is going to get the wave around to go around. So now John Kinder going to hold on to that inside line once more. We're going to see if Robertson can again defend that second spot there on the outside with a very hungry and fast Justin Winters there in third.
So we get ready to reset here, and that's going to put Barlow as in the 26th position, last car on the lead lap. So despite all the calamities, still have a very fair portion of the field still on the lead lap and still fighting here.
Making their way through turns 3 and 4. Now down the front straightaway, Kinder going to get back on the gas again, have another great restart to try and fight Robertson going into 1. He doesn't quite clear him just yet. Robertson, actually, it's not going to happen. He's going to take over second. They get a huge run from Justin Winters, who now tries to fight off Mac Punier and Matt Trenary back there for the 5th spot, as Ronnie Shirk Jr. struggling on the outside, as well as Adam Lancaster, as Dobbs going to be the one to benefit from all of that. And Noggle with a late send, avoiding the contact. We stay green, but that is going to ruin the tires, as we do end up yellow. As I question what might have caused that one, because it didn't look like anybody got involved with that one. I'm not sure if that might have caused in the back, but it almost happened there at the front.
Looks like Ryan Kendall's around in turn 4. We are going to backtrack and see what caused the initial incident, but currently I do see, okay, so we might have missed the initial accident, but Ryan Kendall looks to be one of the bigger losers in that incident, unfortunately.
Ryan Kendall fighting off Wes Wiggin there towards the back. You see Doug Neal in 77 there up on the outside. Oh, just a little bit of the bumper tap. Got him shooting down to the inside, overcorrected it, and shoots it back up to the middle of the racetrack in front of the field, just trying to get that car stopped. Almost looked like everybody avoided him, but came so close, but maybe got about 1 car involved with him in that, as he was just trying to fight Wiggin around the 20th position. Late here in stage number 1, but just a sadly ill-timed bump from the 88 sends him packing in the turn 3 and turn 4 groove.
Wiggin and Kendall have been guys that have been in the midfield for most of the night, and as a result, they've unfortunately been caught up in a couple of incidents. And for both drivers, it doesn't bode well for points, especially for Ryan Kendall, who entered tonight 4th place in the point standings after a very strong run at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where he claimed both the stage win and 3rd place at the race. So it's going to take a lot of work and maybe some attrition at this point in time, because he does have a little bit of damage on his vehicle. But if he just hangs tight, perhaps he could get back in the fight and perhaps manage top 10 and score another strong point tonight.
Ronnie Shirk Jr. now down pit road. He's going to surrender his 10th place position in the stage, maybe trying to go off strategy and ditch the idea of maybe having the stage point and just go after a possible win here tonight. So he is going to take away that position, give it now to the 33 of Wyatt Brackett. You see more cars coming down pit road. Some of those back markers going to come down, get some fuel, get some repairs, try and get that car as fresh as they can for the remainder of this stage. Approaching now 10 laps to go here before the halfway break, as Kinder still just being the driver that is unbeatable here tonight, besides Alan Dobbs, who is still fighting his way through the field after his first pit stop of the night. He still finds himself back there in 7th, but that seems to be the only guy who could knock off Kinder, who last time out we were here late in the season for season 1. This was not his best track. In fact, he was probably one of the more frustrated guys out of anybody that was racing. We had a chance to talk to him a couple times in that race, and it just seemed like every time we talked to him, the race got worse and worse and worse for him. So a very big turnaround from season 1 to season 2 here in Martinsville, as last year it looked like nothing could go his way, but tonight it looks like everything is going his way as we prepare to go back racing once again.
Yep, sometimes it's just the difference a season makes. Perhaps his practice regime for this week worked in his favor, but I mean, so far it's been a proper execution, but we still have about half of the race to go. And if he wants to earn those 10 stage points, and I'm not sure if the playoff point that you might see in real life in NASCAR Cup Series is available here in the Bluegrass iRacing Series, but if it is, that would be another benefit as a result. And it looks like that Chevrolet Silverado pace truck will duck down onto the pit road, and we're about ready to go here. Oh, I'm sorry, we have the Mustang here tonight.
A very big difference in the cars, but regardless, the pace car is back down on the way. Going to hand the field back to the 21, another Ford Mustang of Kinder, as now Robertson again stuck up there on the outside, trying to possibly get the jump on him to try and prepare for that restart. He does. They're going to go side by side in turn number 1, and now Robertson trying to peek ahead, but he's going to overshoot the entry, and that is now he is going to be almost stuck there on the outside line, but he does prevail and take over or keep a hold of that second position, as we're now 11 laps to go here in the stage, as now winners trying to hold on to it. Scott Fritz and Matt Trineri fighting back there for the 5th spot.
So it continues to be smooth sailing as we now go back to Trineri, who's hanging on to that 5th position right now. Does have a little bit of a challenge from Scott Fritz. I believe this is the farthest Fritz has been up the leaderboard so far tonight, so a very strong job here as we get to the point of the race where you can earn a couple of stage points. And here is Alan Dobbs on those fresh Goodyear Eagles, although he is unfortunately stuck at the outside line. There's a little bit of contact. Fritz is around. Looks like everyone does save it, and the yellow flag does not have to come out, but we are going to be nearly 3 wide onto the entry of 3.
That was an incredible display of car control by him, and oh, but that isn't, as that's going to send Doug Neal around. They still stay green, as Doug Neal just parks it there on the curbing to avoid a caution, but that was a very big mistake from both Adam Lancaster and now Scott Fritz, who falls back. Kinder still your race leader. Robertson in 2nd. Winners trying to charge up and take in the 3rd spot. Matt Grenier still in 4th. Matt Trineri holds on to 5th, as Kinder still riding away into the sunset as we are approaching 5 to go here in the stage.
Just for a little bit of an update there, Doug Neal does get back going, but he's about 22nd or 23rd on the leaderboard for the time being. And yeah, back up front, I wouldn't necessarily say that the stage is over yet. All it takes is one mistake from John Kinder, and Brandon Robertson might have the opportunity to pull off a bit of an overtake here for the lead. And speaking of those fresh Goodyear Eagles, Alan Dobbs, currently sitting in the 6th, he has a purple lap time, meaning he has the fastest lap time of the night. So that could be an indication of his tires being at both optimum grip and this track continuing to cool down here as we head into the nighttime.
As you say that, he gets a little tail happy off of turn number 4. He holds on to it, trying to get a hold of Trineri to take over the 4th position. As you look back towards Scott Fritz, who is still possibly struggling and reeling from the contact made from Adam Lancaster and the contact he made with Doug Neal. But regardless, a little bit of commentator's curse from the caution. We're talking about how well he was running tonight, highest up on the leaderboard, and now he falls all the way back outside the top 10, looking back up to the number 3 of Dobbs, as he again trying to hold to get Matt Trineri for that 4th spot, but Grenier holding on to a strong 4th, as now they come off of turn number 4. We're back under yellow once again.
This will be about our 12th caution flag, and it looks like it is going to be the 5 Chevrolet Silverado. I believe that's a newer driver of the series. Oh, no, it's actually Joshua Abbey. I believe he's running new colors here tonight. Oh, did I say Silverado? Oh, my apologies there. We are running the Camaro here currently in both NASCAR and in the Bluegrass iRacing series, and it just looks like utilizes a little bit too much off exit, and he catches the outside safer barrier pretty close to the start-finish line, actually. So that's going to be a big setback there for Abbey.
Have you been running Pickup Cup this past few days? I know it's week 13, so everyone's trying to take advantage of the little bit of off week we have here. But man, we're talking about Silverados and Mustangs here tonight. As you see, number 5 bucked up energy machine of Joshua Abbey. He comes off of turn number 4, just runs all the way up to the wall and loses control of it and just slams it down into the inside line, as that is a very tough hit and a very weird incident to have happen, as that might end it here for stage number 1. Before the halfway break, that would go to John Kinder if that is the case. Robertson will take home 2nd, and actually winners looks like he might take 3rd in that stage through all of that, as not exactly the finish we wanted to see, but man, what a job well done by John Kinder, who has just been on rails this entire race.
It'll be 1 half down and 125 laps yet to go here for John Kinder to secure. It would be about 40 points if he's able to pick up the race win. And I believe the maximum you can earn here in the Bluegrass iRacing Series is 50 points, but that's also barring any additional bonus points for potentially leading the most laps or leading laps here. So we do look at our race information here tonight at Martinsville Speedway, and do see about 12 cautions for 60 laps. That is about half of the laps driven so far tonight, and then there's only been 2 lead changes, just showing how dominant Kinder's been after getting back up to the lead.
Yeah, 21 Rims 1 Ghostface Brewing Mustang has just been on a tear all night long. We talked about it looking at the points in the pre-race. He was running back there around 5th in points, and we said a win tonight could make and break that championship and put him back up there in the fight. And right now, it's looking to be that way for number 21. If they can hold on to that, that would put him right up to the top area, and it looks like we might actually get a word with our race leader as we bring him in. John Kander, you got us?
Yeah, 10-4.
Well, you've been pretty much a dominant car all night, a big turnaround from last season where nothing could go your way. How has it been trying to tackle this track in much of the caution-filled races like we saw last year?
Well, luckily I've been up front, so that's helped quite a bit. But the tire model kind of threw his curveball. But we'll just see how the rest of this goes. There's some different pit strategies going on. We'll see if we got enough tires there at the end.
Well, as you get ready to go back to racing, what is your plan here for this restart? You've been dominant so far. How do you plan on holding it off to maybe get your first win of the season, as actually you look to go back yellow again?
Well, hopefully get a clean restart. Keep saving these tires. We got to go a long run on these. And hopefully keep the car clean.
All right, before I let you go here to prepare for this restart, who do you have to thank for how your race has gone here in the first half?
Well, of course, Rims 1 and Ghostface Brewery. My teammate Adam Lancaster, he's helped me get faster here. And Alex Huffman for doing the paint schemes for us. So hopefully we can put it in victory lane for him.
Well, it would be a beautiful paint scheme to see in victory lane. Good luck out there, and hopefully we get to talk to you some more on later here in the race.
I appreciate you guys.
That is going to be your current race leader, John Kinder, the pace car, getting set to make that hard left turn. You want to talk about abusing some tires. That Mustang abused some tires with how much he's having to turn that wheel to the left to get on it for about the 13th time here tonight. Is now going on board with the number 21 off of turn number 4. Going to hit that line hard on the gas. You're going to see him jump all the way up. He actually short shifts all the way to 4th, and that's maybe the key to how he gets those restarts. But again, shifting all the way back down to 2nd, believe it or not. It's very interesting to see these guys go all the way down to 2nd, as now you look behind him, and now Winters finally capitalizes. He's going to take over 2nd as he takes away from Brandon Robertson.
We come off of the exit, and it's going to be yet again Kinder leading the field onto the entry of turn number 1. 128 laps completed so far, and it looks like the closest battle on track right now, barring the top 2, which are separated by about 3/10, looks to be for that 3rd spot. We will go back a little bit farther because side by side it's Matt Trineri. He's looking to move up into it will be the 6th spot, not the top 5, looking to overtake Adam Lancaster. Lancaster has to concede, and it looks like Trineri might not have actually had the room to completely clear him, but for the time being, it will do the job.
Trineri now holding on to the 6th spot. Lancaster holding on to 7th. Dobbs has now promoted himself up to 5th. So again, he is following his way back up through the field from his first pit stop. Now looking on the back bumper of the Snap-on Ford Mustang of Matt Grenier, who has been running solidly in the top 5 all race long, but now also looking at the top 2. This is the closest we've seen the lead fight been for most of the race since that lap traffic we saw happen, as now Justin Winter is now knocking on the door. You want to talk about a guy who could boost his way into championship with a win here, who actually tags the wall of turn number 4. A win here could boost Winters back into the same spot he was last season, where he was fighting Travis Miller all season long for the points lead. And if he wins this race, that could really do wonders for him. But he has to go through John Kinder first, who is also one of the guys who fought for that championship fight most of the season. As again, those 2 black and green machines just running out front, trying to keep off Robertson as they try to make this fight between them.
Looks like the gap has about stagnated for the time being between the top 2, but I think Winters is proving after some initial struggles early in the race that he might have the pace to be able to challenge Kinder. Is he the only one? Only time is going to tell, as we still have about 115 laps here left at Martinsville Speedway. We go back a little bit farther, and yet again it's Matt Trineri battling for the 6th spot, but he's going to be one on the wrong side of it. Nicholas Nagel will move up into the 6th spot, and now the next side-by-side battle will be for the 4th position, as it's Alan Dobbs on slightly fresher Goodyear Eagles looking to take over the 4th spot rather from Matt Grenier.
Door to door they go, entering turn number 1. Chevy versus Ford, as with a Toyota peeking back, trying to take over 5th. He is actually going to get the run. Now he's going to try and make it -2 for Matt Grenier into turns 3 and 4. He's actually going to run a little bit wide, almost doors him. That actually holds up to 15. Now he's going to clear him. Move Nagel back up to 4. So as it stands right now, it is John Kinder in 1st, Justin Winters 2nd, Brandon Robertson 3rd, Alan Dobbs in 4th, and Nagel back in 5th. As you look further through the field, back towards the 9th position, Scott Fritz with an incredible charge up to the field after that almost spin, that incredible save, as he's currently fighting Wyatt Brackett for the 8th position. It's Jack Bauer as well, who struggled from that restart when he was starting all the way up in about the 3rd spot. He now finds himself back in 10th with Wes Wiggin running in 11th.
Compared to the two that were following, Jack Bauer's on slightly fresher tires, so it'll be interesting to see over the next few laps if perhaps he is able to challenge these guys and move up a couple of spots. We're going to ride on board here. I believe this is with Wyatt Brackett as he attempts to chase down Scott Fritz for the time being. You do see that he utilizes a wider line through turns 1 and 2, and perhaps that is to get a strong exit and try to create an opportunity to move to the inside line on the entry of turn 3. Unfortunately, not enough momentum. You also see Fritz move to the inside line on the entry to the corner to try to compromise any attempt of a passing opportunity for Wyatt Brackett.
Trying to park the bus on the entry to prevent Brackett from having any shot of getting a run off the corner to make that pass happen. Right now, he still holds on to it. You see the damage that was brought on from Adam Lancaster's hit on the rear end of him. As you see a little bit of smoke from further up to the field, maybe just a little bit of a brake lockup, as now you look back up towards the 4th position between Robertson and Noggle, as we do have a yellow, and is once again going to be Joshua Abbey, who is slowly rolling down the front straightaway in that bucked up Energy Chevrolet.
We'll ride on board with the 5 of Abbey as he goes through turns 3 and 4. Looks like clips a little bit of the apron, and perhaps he is out of fuel or it's an engine expiring. I'm getting word that it is an engine expiring for the 5 of Joshua Abbey. We did see that he was involved in a couple incidents earlier. So it could have been a result of that, or as we've seen, this is also a track where we're seeing guys upshifting, so it's possible that he put it into the wrong gear or he just put too much stress onto the motor.
That was Joshua Abbey, as he does in fact have an expired motor, as you do see. So that was the smoke we saw in turns 3 and 4. It wasn't a brake lockup, it was that Chevy Camaro engine kaputting itself as he rolls off of 4 just very slowly. As you see the onboard for the entire lap, you see him redlining the gears as he goes through there. It looks like if he was shifting down, that might have been it. Yeah, he's shifting down to the corners, and that creates a lot of wear and tear. If you do one wrong shift, that is what you call a money shift. In order to look on the onboard to see if that was the case. Nope, just a simple engine expire, just the wrong place at the wrong time, and that is going to sadly end his night at around right past the halfway point.
Conventionally, those repairs take about 30 minutes if it's an engine expiring, so it's probably going to be the night over for Joshua Abbey. Perhaps he wants to hang around and see if he can pick up a couple of spots through the wave of attrition, but any chance of him gaining a lot of points tonight has come to a close about halfway here at Martinsville Speedway. Fortunately, came in a place where there wasn't a lot of traffic around him, and it didn't cause any incidents, so for the most part, everyone is able to avoid that. And we continue onward, only with about 100 laps here at Martinsville Speedway. And during that period of viewing the replay, we did undergo a pit cycle, and it's going to put Ronnie Shirk Jr. up onto the point. And John Kinder is going to have to restart yet again from about the 5th spot, which I think is where he restarted the last time he had to climb through the field.
So now Shirk going to take over the point. Maurer going to promote himself up to 2nd. Doug Neal in 77 up to 3rd. Ryan Terry, one of the drivers who also stayed out in 4th. We talk about Kinder, the first of the drivers to come down pit road. He's now going to take over 5th. Winner's now up to 6th. And how about Alan Dobbs? So the 3 front runners who were running up towards the top of the field with a chance at the lead, 2 of them have. They now find themselves in the 5th, 6th, and 7th position, as now they're going to have to try and tackle these drivers who stayed out on much older tires, but you can't count them out. A driver like Ronnie Shirk Jr., who we talked about, pitted before the stage end, so he's actually not on that much older tires than these guys, so he's actually in a pretty good spot. Maybe Nathan Mares as well as Doug Neal and Brian Terry. So again, going to be very interesting to see how this restart unfolds, as now that is actually our 3rd different leader here tonight as we get set to go back racing.
We'll also get to see how someone else is able to rather control or not control the inside line effectively on the restart. We do see yet again that the leader doesn't like to go onto the inside line, but as you said, this will only be the 3rd person in control of the field on a restart, and he'll also have to manage that couple car buffer between him and the likes of John Kinder, Justin Winters, as well as Nathan Maurer, who's proven to also be very effective. He'll be starting 2nd place on the outside.
Ronnie Shirk Jr. gonna do the same exact thing Dobbs have been doing on the restart. He's gonna take a very wide angle as he turns 3 and 4 to try and force that outside line up into the marbles as they get back, rolling a very much later restart than what we've seen most of the leaders do. That's gonna allow Maurer to stay on the alongside of him as a very big stack up on behind as Dobbs actually jumps in front of Kinder. So now he's going to find himself running up in the 5th position as they're side by side with Doug Neal and Brian Terry as they make their way through turns 3 and 4 as they try to get the run. As you see, the entire bumper ripped off the 77, but that's not really affecting him much.
Brian Terry gets a little bit squirrely off the exit of turn 4, and it's going to cause a little bit of a jam up behind him. Alan Dobbs continues to represent the best of the drivers who did take tires on that last yellow flag period. Now we look back to seeing Kinder under pressure from Noggle, who makes a little bit of contact, and Kinder's going to be sent around in front of the entire field.
It looks like much of the drivers are going to avoid him, but that has major implications for this race. Kinder, who had been dominating the entirety of the night, now finds himself at the back of the field. Looks like he's going to come out of that unscathed, that everybody was able to clear the path to get around him. But man, you talk about Nicholas Noggle, one of the more aggressive drivers. You see that hole, he's going to take it. A little bit of a late dive and then just gives him the shot in the corner, and it's enough to send the number 21 around as now one of your contenders for the win now has to try and claw his way back through the field as he gets it spun around to get back going. But man, major effect to this race as now that's going to put it in the lap of Alan Dobbs, depending if Justin Winters can do anything to try and chase him back down.
We'll get another view here, but that's definitely a good point you bring up, because it's going to be a long way for Kinder to get back up there. And we do see it was not a great spot all around for Noggle to get into the rear of the 21, because he caught him in both the left rear quarter panel, which can upset the balance quite a bit. And that's also around the point of the racetrack where drivers tend to get back into the throttle at Martinsville. So just an unfortunate spot. And as a result, it's going to put Kinder near the back end of the leaderboard. It will be interesting to see how well and how effectively he can charge through the field. It doesn't look like there's a lot of damage to Kinder for the time being.
Yeah, a lot of drivers mostly able to avoid him, besides maybe Scott Fritz, who had nowhere to go as he was finally getting it back all the way around. As Terry and Noggle making contact after the fact. So maybe a little bit of karma on Noggle's end, but that's going to cause a bit of damage to the front nose of that machine. Maybe cause a little bit of a tire rub. That's going to affect his number 08 Mobile 1 Toyota. But regardless, that's going to put Ronnie Shirk Jr. still up at the point with the race lead. But on his outside, one of the fastest drivers on the track, Alan Dobbs, at about 20 or 30 laps fresher tires, as we have now approached the 100 to go mark here at Martinsville. A run back down of your top 10 as we get ready to actually bring in Nathan Maurer, the driver of the number 97, as I'll hand it over to Trey Shuttlesworth to give him the current in-race interview.
Nathan Maurer, pleasure to have you in the booth. Very simply, how would you assess your run so far, and what are you looking to do to get an effective finish here tonight at Martinsville?
To stay in front of the wrecks, this is probably my second worst track on iRacing, so to be up here in 3rd place is not where I should be right now, but as long as I can just keep a clean car up here and hopefully get a top 10 finish.
Appreciate it, Nathan. Since I'm assuming we're getting the one to go here, any one you want to thank out their sponsor, friends, family-wise?
Yeah, my buddy in the 77 here, Doug Neal, makes all this possible for me, sponsoring me. Yeah, I couldn't do it without him.
All right, thank you, Nathan, and good luck out there.
Thanks, bud.
That's Nathan Maurer. He's currently running 3rd place here at Martinsville Speedway, as, yeah, it looks like we do get the one to go here, and it will be Ronnie Shirk Jr. yet again in control.
Shirk Jr. in number 7 going to hold on to the race lead. Alan Dobbs now up to 2nd. Nathan Maurer just talked to in 3rd. Doug Neal 4th. Brian Terry going to round it out in 5th. Coming through turns 3 and 4. Shirk again going to go all the way up to the outside. See if he maybe tries to get a little bit of a better restart. Maurer all on the back bumper. Again, a very late restart that's going to allow Shirk to get the run, but Maurer not too far behind, and neither is Dobbs as he sent it back into turn number 1. As you look further towards the rear end of the field, as you see Scott Fritz struggling a bit there, as well as Doug Neal and Terry as they exit off of turn number 2.
We are looking at the likes of Noggle trying to get around a little bit slower traffic of Brian Terry, who is on those older Goodyear Eagles. We come off of the exit, very tight between the two of them. It was nearly 3 wide between the 3 of them, including Justin Winters off of the exit at turn 4. And now it's Winters who will try to make his way past the 13 machine of Brian Terry down the back straightaway. But up front, it continues to be Ronnie Shirk Jr. as we continue to watch the action into 3.
Winners now to the inside of number 13, Marines. Chevrolet has edged off a turn at number 4. The number 1 of Fritz now to the inside of him as Terry very much struggling on those older tires. You see Brandon Robertson and the number 2 GM Goodwrench Plus Chevrolet now to the inside of number 13 to try and get the run. Here comes Noggle down to the inside of Neal into turns 3. He's going to clear him for the 5th position. Winner's going to try and do the same as they got Robertson now around in the back, as so is Matt Chenier to number 62 as a big stack up and behind. Now there is a parking lot over there in 4.
Traffic comes to a complete standstill. I think this is the worst we've seen in terms of a complete standstill so far tonight. It collects at least a half a dozen cars that have to come to a complete stop here at Martinsville, and now we'll get a look to see what the origin of the incident was. Obviously, it'll be Brandon Robertson, who is one of the bigger losers here just because of how strong of a night he's been having. A little bit of a contact with Brian Terry, and then there's a little bit of a chain reaction behind them as a result. It will send Matt Trineri around, and then others have to come to a complete stop. But we don't really see a lot of massive critical damage, I don't think.
Yeah, just a pretty much of a parking lot. The only driver you see with about massive damage is the 46 and Nick Mills. Got to wonder if that was... No, actually see it back there in the top of your screen. He had his front bumper, so he's going to be the one mostly affected by this. And you see just Terry go around, a little bit of contact from number 2, and just parks it there on the bottom, but Cheneri up in the 62, he gets spun around. He actually does lose his back bumper as well as the 46. You see Daniel Worthington in the Ward 13 having nowhere to go, and all they have to do is just wait for the path to clear for Robertson to go around. But still, you want to talk about Kinder having a massive effect. Now Robertson as well, 2 front runners who have been up there most of the night now find themselves all the way in the back. Going to have to fight even harder these less than 100 laps to try and get that top 10 spot back.
Long ways to go. However, we did just cross the 100 lap to go point. So we do have Alan Dobbs, who, as you can see, he's running second for the time being, and we're going to get a chance to talk to him for a little bit.
Alan, you have been one of the strongest contenders of the past 2 weeks. How has it been for you trying to claw your way back to this race lead?
Tough. That's all I can say, man. This is Martinsville, man. With this many cars, it's something.
All right, as we get ready to go back racing, actually, we do have a time for maybe one more question here. You've seen a little bit of the leader's curse now taking effect. Robertson getting sent around, and now Kender. What is your goal to try and maybe stay up in the front to try and avoid getting sent around and getting put to the back with those other 2 leaders that were running up there with you most of the night?
Yeah, I think the main thing is just going to be trying to stay up in the top 5 or so and hit our marks. Don't brake check too early. You know, just keep it smooth and consistent so that the people behind us and in front of us can also do the same.
All right, before I let you go here, just quickly, who do you have to thank for your run, and who do you have to just think in general for how this race has gone so far?
Hey, just thanks to Nick, my teammate, and thanks to the guys here at Bluegrass, the admins, race control, and all the competitors for a great race every week.
All right, well, good luck on this next restart, and hopefully we get to hear from you more towards the end of the race.
All right, thank you.
That's going to be Alan Dobbs, who now finds himself on the outside of the front row once more. Ronnie Shirk Jr. going to still hold on to the lead. Nathan Maurer still back there in 3rd, Noggle in 4th, and Doug Neal still strongly fighting, holding on to the 5th position, is now coming out of turn number 4, getting ready to go back racing once again. It actually has, the yellow flag has in fact been extended, so now we're going to go about 1 more lap around and get ready to go on this restart once again. It's a little bit of icing the kicker going on here, and the field is now they get ready to do it once again.
So get a little bit of a chance to breathe, and looking at time and scoring, we still have 25 drivers on the lead lap. Just goes to show that if you just keep take care of your equipment to a certain degree, you can hang in there tight at Martinsville Speedway. Still a long ways to go, but we have passed that point where we're under 100 laps to go here at Martinsville, and we go through 3 and 4, and we're about ready to go.
Shirk Jr. up at the lead again. We've seen him do these late restarts time and time again. Can Dobbs finally catch him out this time? Green flag back in the air. He's actually going to get the jump. Shirk's going to hold on to the lead. As now Fritz all the way down to the bottom. He almost tried to make a 3 wide as Neil now having a fight with Winters there. Winters actually making a pass on the outside, move him into 5th.
And now the battle is for the 4th spot between Winters and Maurer for the time being. They're doing a very good job of showing racecraft between the two of each other, but it's Winters with a lot of pace in his vehicle right now. And that's just because he has tires that are about 20 laps fresher than that of Nathan Maurer. And we're starting to see the effects for Maurer as he continues to drop off. But now we look a little bit forward, and this is the battle for the lead. Dobbs is onto the rear bumper of that Chevrolet Camaro of Ronnie Shirk Jr., and I think we're going to have a battle for the lead here quite shortly.
All over the back bumper, the two Chevrolets, the number 7 and number 3, as they make their way down the back straightaway, getting ready to complete lap number 164. Dobbs just biding his time. You've seen how hard it is to try and make a pass for the lead. As you look back towards the rear end, Onago now goes around. Little bit of karma now going in the back, as it looks like he might have gotten the bumper from number 52, as we are now back under yellow. You see him parked on the bottom, trying to find his way back going, but sadly he's going to have to wait and fall all the way to the rear.
We'll backtrack to see what caused the incident there for Nicholas Noggle. It looks like for the time being that he's all alone, which leads me to believe that perhaps he got onto the throttle a little bit too aggressively or a bit too early. He gets loose off the exit of turn 4. We've seen the exit of turn 4 be so lethal tonight. I don't actually think we've seen a driver get loose and spin off of turn 2 tonight. It's mostly been off of 4.
I also don't think we've ever seen a driver spin off of turn number 4 and not hit the wall. That was an incredible use of saving there to keep that number away from collecting any damage there. The only thing damaged are going to be those Goodyear Eagles, which have now been turned into squares. Might as well be driving a Minecraft car at that point and Flintstone it. As now we are back under yellow once again. Shirk still your race leader. Alan Dobbs holding on to 2nd. Justin Winters now in back up to the 3rd spot. As Doug Neal still, he's missing the spoiler on that car. He has been running with a very much damaged number 77, but he is still showing them how it's done. Scott Fritz as well, who we saw almost went around twice towards the end of this first stage. Now he finds himself running strongly up there in the 5th. So a lot of the guys that we see running towards the back half of the field the past 2 weeks, I should say, now find themselves strongly running up in the 10th with the pit strategy they pulled off under this last caution a few cautions ago. As now it looks we're going to get a chance to talk to your 3rd place runner in the number 52 of Justin Winters. For that, I'll hand it over to Trey Shuttlesworth.
Justin Winters, it's a pleasure to have you in the booth here at PitStop TV. So you've been all up and down the leaderboard. What have you been doing just to keep composure rather in the car?
Just being real patient, buddy. Being real patient around all these guys that I haven't really raced around, the new guys, and just watching all the drama happen.
Otherwise, what is your strategy in terms of maintaining your tires? What are you looking like in terms of tire allotment here? Because we are starting to get down to the wire.
Tire wear hasn't been an issue for me. I wish it seemed like I was coming on at the long run part. So I wish we could get a long run in, and maybe I'm a little bit faster than the guys in front of me.
All right, Justin, otherwise, I'm assuming we're coming to the one to go here. So anyone you want to thank out there for your pretty strong run so far tonight?
The originals, Allen's Body Shop, Alex Huffman for the design, and Booth Manufacturing. So let's see if we can't close this one out.
All right. Thank you, Justin. We appreciate it.
So now as we get ready to go racing, once again, Ronnie Shirk, still your race leader, your 3rd different leader of the night. Alan Dobbs going to try and make it the 4th lead change of the race, as now they make their way towards turn number 3. That Ford Mustang again gonna go back down pit road. Question for how long as we make our way through 3 and 4. The field double up once more. It's gonna be Shirk, Dobbs, Winters, Neal, and Fritz as they make their way off of the final corner. Green flag back in the air as Shirk gonna get the jump on Dobbs. Now Winters as well gonna try and make him stay up there as Neal overshoots the corners. He's gonna fall back a ton of spots off of turn number 2.
And now the trouble for Neal becomes merging back into traffic. We don't see a caution flag, so I'll assume he does the job effectively, but unfortunately, he's going to be stuck on those older Goodyear Eagles at this point in time. We do see Justin Winters. We just talked to him. And now he's in a spot where if he maintains his tires, perhaps he could challenge the top 2 for the lead right now. In fact, Ronnie Shirk Jr. is on tires that are 30 laps older than the rest of these guys, so he's doing a very strong job. It just shows how much pace he has in that car right now as Dobbs continues to pressure. We now go on board with the 7 of Shirk Jr.
Dobbs now going to try and make the move onto the inside. Shirk going to go on the brakes later, maybe run a little bit higher. Dobbs almost looked like he was going to give the bumper to him as he exited off of turn number 2. As we've seen it all race long, you can get to the back bumper of these leaders, but just like how F1 was a few years ago, and they're still trying to fix it, you can get up there, but you just can't do anything with the runs you have, and that's exactly what we're seeing from these drivers. They can get up there, but we're just not seeing them be able to get the runs off the corners to make these moves happen, which is why it's been so hard to find the lead change. He's going to try the outside, not going to make it work, as Winter's still in third, watching this all unfold in front of him.
Yeah, and Winters is in a position where he doesn't really have to compromise his racing line too much, as now we look to the inside for Alan Dobbs Jr. He's looking to go to the lead. Yet again, it is going to be Alan Dobbs off of the exit of turn 2 to the point by about a car length or 2.
They're about 5th different lead change of the night. The number 3 of Dobbs now back up to the point. Shirk now falling back to 2nd as the Chevy top 3 still running strong as Justin Winters holds on comfortably to the 3rd spot. Looking back at a fight between the 2 Fords of Scott Fritz and Matt Grenier. Casey Barlow, after his spin about 20 or 30 laps ago, now finds himself back up to 6th, white bracket in 7th. As you see Matt Trineri in the number 62 missing the whole front bumper of that Chevrolet, now finds himself in the 8th position. Jack Barrow holding on to 9th, and then Ryan Kendall, number 68, rounds out your top 10, as right now the field's starting to spread themselves out little by little, as now Dobbs holding on to about a half a second lead as he tries to run away from the number 7.
So for the time being, not a lot of pressure up front for the 3 of Alan Dobbs. We do see that, you know, despite the older tires for Ronnie Shirk Jr., he's still hanging relatively tight, although I do expect that Justin Winters will be ready to challenge for the 2nd spot in a little bit of time. But yeah, as Winters said, I think he's doing an effective job of maintaining his tires, and he's in a position where he doesn't have a lot of challenge from behind at the time being, and when you don't have to compromise your line on entry or exit, that's a great opportunity to maintain your tire grip.
You see him still trying to make it happen. Brandon Robertson fighting his way back up to the front after that spin a couple of cautions ago. He's now trying to get around the number 88 of Wes Wiggins. He's stuck all the way back there in the 14th position. John Kinder has fought his way all the way back up to the 11th spot. So we talked about how hard it was going to be, as Robertson actually almost a block, as we are actually back under yellow once again. And it's going to be Ed Osborne, the number 42. Looks like he's going to bring it out, as that modified number 42 has just been on the struggle bus this entire night.
It looks like the struggle in turn 1 and 2 began on the entry. It seemed incredibly unstable, but where the actual incident occurs, I think we saw him relatively slow coming off of turn 4, and he does spin on the entry, gets a little bit loose, and that mangled 42 Ford Mustang. I don't think his day is over, because I believe we did see him get back going, but it's going to be yet another struggle for him, as he is a cause of a caution about our 14th or 15th here tonight at Martinsville. We do see a couple of leaders come down to pit road as we continue to ride on board with Osborne and see what caused the incident from his perspective.
Yeah, you can see when you're missing the bumper and both bumpers, you see him struggling to get control of that car, and sadly it gets too much, and he finally sends it around and parks it in turn number 4 as he opts to stay out under this caution. Dobbs is actually going to bring it down pit road, as well as Ronnie Shirk Jr. So now your new race leader for the first time, about our 4th different leader of the race. Justin Winters now back out front. Alan Dobbs is going to win the race off pit road, as Ronnie Shirk going to come off in P2 of the race off pit road. You're looking at Daniel Worthington in the 113 getting his 4 new Goodyear Eagles, as he now waits for the fuel and possibly the damage repair. And you see a lot of the more midfield runners now making their way off of pit road.
I think, Noah, for a lot of these guys that came down pit road, it was their 3rd pit stop, which would mean they're on to now their last set of tires tonight.
And now we're going to get the number 15 of Matt Grenier up here in the PitStop TV booth. Matt, you've been running a very strong race all night long. You've been sitting quietly, but not too quietly, back there in the top 5. How's it been for you?
It's been interesting, that's for sure. You know, these guys are racing hard tonight. It's good, clean stuff up front, which is nice. Caution laps are a little tedious at times, but you know, the racing when we have it's been good.
All right, well, as we get ready for this next restart, who do you have to thank for your race here tonight?
I just got to thank the Team New England guys, Brandon Robertson, Wyatt Brackett, David Brackett. You know, our strategy and everything that we put together every week is key and helps us all move forward. So got to thank them.
All right, well, good luck on this next restart. Hopefully we get to see a little bit more out of you towards the end of this race, and hopefully you can maybe still win here.
Hope so. See you then.
All right, it's going to be your current third place runner, Matt Grenier, as we about get set for the 1 to green here. Your current top 5 going to be winners in front. Scott Fritz now up to his highest spot in second. Matt Grenier does talk to in third. Casey Barlow has fought his way all the way back up to fourth, and then Wyatt Brackett in the number 33 going to round it out fifth as they double it up as we get ready to end our 17th caution here tonight.
Yep, we're getting ready here, and I think this is the first time we'll see winners in control, so it'll be very interesting to see what he's able to do for the first time.
Winners, your new race leader, as he exits off of turn number 4. He's going to go all the way down to the bottom, a very slow roll to the start finish line. He's going to get hard on the gas, going to catch, oh, Fritz gets a little wheel spin on the start, but he's going to go all the way to the bottom, keep a hold of that second spot, as Grenier going to hold on the third. Barlow now stuck on the outside, as well as Chenier, as they make their way down backstretch, as we are back under yellow once again, as it looks to be the number 37 perhaps. We're going to have to wait and see who might have been the cause of this.
It'll be our 18th caution flag of the night as we continue to look for the source. Winters will continue to lead after a very strong restart there, and very interesting to see Scott Fritz, who got a little bit of a wheel spin there off of that initial restart. It still ended up working in his favor as it moved him onto the inside line, and it looks like, oh, that is Daniel Worthington, who goes around in turn 3, or not turn 3, rather turn 1 on that initial restart.
Gonna look back on the restart all the way towards the rear end of the field. Oh, he just gets might have been a little bit of netcode that caused that. Regardless, it was a very close running going to turn number 1 for number 13 of Brian Terry, and sadly that sends the number 113 packing into turn number 1, and that is just not what you want to see, especially after getting those fresh Goodyear Eagles. And yep, just late on the brakes and just a little late move from the 113. That sends him hard into the outside wall, and what causes now our 18th caution of the race as we are approaching that 50 to go mark here at Martinsville.
Yeah, definitely a bit brave there on the brakes for the 13. It gives us yet another chance to reset, decompress, and unfortunately for those guys that just elected to go on new Goodyear tires, they don't get to utilize them quite yet. The leader of the guys who just came down pit road 1 yellow flag ago, that is Alan Dobbs, who's in the 14th position.
And now we're going to bring in your 4th place runner, number 51 of Casey Barlow. Casey, you've had a pretty up and down night. You ran up towards the front on the start. You had a little bit of spin towards the halfway point, and now you find yourself back up to 4th. How has it been finding your way back up to this field?
Well, it's been quite a ride, man. I caught a bumper there about midway. Was gonna catch some good stage points, but got spun there. Just been working my way back up.
And now you probably have the most interesting paint scheme out of all of this, and I really want to find out, what was the inspiration for this little bit of a half and half Days of Thunder throwback?
To be honest with you, when it comes to my NASCAR, I just absolutely love Days of Thunder. Grew up, huge Cole Trickle fan, and couldn't decide between the two, so went with both of them.
You can't go for one, just go for both. That's an awesome combination. Well, good luck here on this next restart, and hopefully we see a little bit more of the Days of Thunder running up there at the front.
Thanks, guys. Have a good broadcast.
All right, that is going to be the number 51 of Casey Barlow as they bring it off of turn number 4, preparing maybe for the 1 to go, as indeed we are. So he's going to take his spot up on the outside of row number 2. Justin Winters again out front with Scott Fritz. Going to line it up back on the outside. Grenier going to hold on to 3rd with the number 51 of Barlow in fourth. Then White Bracket, again, running very, very well up there in the fifth spot as we get ready to go back racing. So once more, re-stack them and re-rack them as the pace car, making the hard left turn once again. He's had a pretty busy night behind the wheel of that Ford Mustang, as now we get ready for Barney the Flagman. He has been having a workout with that arm, as now Winters not waiting a minute. He's going to get the jump, and now that's going to allow Scott Fritz to hold on a second with Grenier back there in third.
And this restart puts us at 60 laps to go here at Martinsville Speedway. Still a long way to go. Still a lot that can happen. We do see that Matt Grenier is without a front bumper for the time being. And despite it, he's still holding strong in the top 10 for the time being, sitting in the sixth spot. But there's a lot of trouble behind him. And it's John Kinder. We saw him involved in that accident where he got spun around in front of the field. And now the trouble will happen in front of him. As Trenary gets spun, he almost saves it, catches the 21. No major incidents, it looks like, just a lot of close calls.
That's going to cause a huge stack up on behind us. Just look at the melee going on, as now David Brackett going to make a late send into turn number 3 into Nathan Maurer as they run off of turn number 4. And now the cautions come out, and trying to figure out who that car was that was spun into the inside wall. But it's going to be Nicholas Noggle once again catching it. This time he's not going to be able to keep off the walls. He, with all the melee around him, just couldn't keep it off. You saw Brandon Robertson catching the outside wall. He was actually running alongside Ryan Kendall, number 68. They're going to bring it off of turn number 4. And actually, he loses it once again, catches the nose of the number 3, and then just slams it passenger side first into the inside wall once again, about the same spot where he stopped when he spun out the first time. But now this time is going to cause a lot of right side damage to number 08 Mobile One Brightcon Toyota.
Fortunately for a lot of his competitors near him, he was able to split a little bit of a gap and not collect any others as he got into the inside wall off of turn 4. So yet again, it claims another victim. And now we look up front to see that Justin Winters is going to be accompanied by Scott Fritz. I think this might be the farthest he's been up the leaderboard so far tonight, so it'll be very interesting to see what he can do from second place this time around.
The number 52, Allen's Body Shop Chevrolet, still holding on to that race lead ever since he took it, as he makes the dive all the way down to the inside. It looks like he might be just trying to snake it to have a little bit of fun, as the pit road is closed, as they loop it back around turns 3 and 4, as he gets ready for this restart again. We've seen him now with 2 different variants. Most drivers have about the same idea what to do on restarts. Now he's seeing Winters waited a little bit longer with a slow roll, then he just gets the jump. On the restart before that, he just went for it and was able to hold on to it. So he's experimenting a little bit with the different kinds of restarts he wants to do to try and hold on to that race lead. But regardless, he is not sticking to a rhythm and catching these guys off each and every time he does it. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys react this time around.
It really does go to show how dominating having control of a restart can be at a track like Martinsville Speedway. You do come to the restart zone, and it's at a very slow pace of speed. And while the actual restart zone can be quite narrow compared to other racetracks, if you're able to catch someone off guard, you can really utilize the 750 horsepower to your advantage. Then you get to the entry of turn 1, and it's a track where it can be hard at times to hang tight on the outside line and try and make something happen. And I don't think we've actually seen anyone make the outside completely work. We've seen several guys hang tight through turns 1 and 2 on the outside line, but it's just so difficult, especially when you're trying to build up momentum.
Now coming down the back straightaway, once again, you talked about just how hard it is. We've seen it every time this outside line just been very much of a struggle for everybody. The last few restarts, though, people have been able to find their way back to that inside line going into turn number 1 and been able to hold on a second. But regardless, the looming threat of running wide is something that all these drivers need to fear, because once you get stuck on the outside, you're just going to fall further and further back until you do find that hole as far back as you can. It's kind of like super speedway racing. You want to stay in the line on wherever they are, usually whether it's the bottom or the top, because if you get fallen out of line, it's going to be very, very hard to find your way back in there to be able to hold on to position and stay with that pack. Once again, the field doubling up. The 52 going to hold on to the race lead. Number 1 now going to line up along the outside down the back straightaway as we get set for another restart attempt, as we get to see what kind of a restart does Winters want to do as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. Will he go early? Will he go late? A little bit of a stack up on behind towards the rear end of the field, as now Winter's going to go very, very early, and it catches Fritz completely off guard as well as the rest of the field, and now he jumps off and away to another race lead as they go 3 wide on behind as White Bracket runs wide through turns number 1 and 2, and that's going to force Jack Bauer back off the front end of the field.
In the least, they do get double wide, and as you saw a little bit earlier, only 5 lead changes tonight, which just goes to show the guys that have been able to dominate have been doing such an effective job. And I think such a combination of these really short runs and being able to control. And now Dobbs gets a little bit of a tap. I believe that's from John Kinder. That will be our yellow flag, I believe. It'll be 20 now tonight here at Martinsville Speedway.
A very interesting play by the number 21. You got to see what might have either initiated that or caused what might have been the cause for wanting to do that. I don't know. Not gonna say right out that it's initial, but with how these short tracks have been going, it's very hard to tell. But regardless, that is now another leader who is running up towards the front, now packing it and going all the way to the back. You see the restart once again as Kinder being a little bit tricky into turn number 1, as he was the one that shoved Bracket up into the 48. So not wasting any time to try and take the restart and move his way up to the leaders.
Well, I think that might have been a little bit of the origin. There was a bump and run placed by Alan Dobbs, and Kinder looks like, and yeah, there was a little bit of drama last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway as well, and I have to wonder if that played a role, but Kinder didn't seem to be a big fan of the bump and run there, and very kindly returns the favor in turns 1 and 2.
So now Alan Dobbs, now just about each of the leaders who have led a lap now has been sent some way or another to the back of the pack. You see, yep, there's the initiation, a little bit of a tap to ruin his exit. Kinder goes on behind, is like, you want to play that game? Well, you can go packing. He sends him up for a first-class ride to the Bahamas. He just goes south for the winner, as now he tries to get it rolling. A little bit of contact from Maurer, tries to get going, almost gets hit by Lancaster, so almost a double whammy from the 21 and the 28, as now he is going to have to try and fight his way back to the field and maybe see a little bit of retaliation later on in the race, as we have now approached the final 50 laps of this race.
Yep, no, we are in the final stretch. And the other thing from that incident is that Casey Barlow very nearly also got caught inches between him, and it would have been the 3 of Alan Dobbs as he was spinning around. So that could have been much, much worse. Could have ended up with another track block. And yeah, we do head back up front, and we do see Justin Winters continues to hang tight. But John Kinder is still in the top 5, and he's still fighting, throwing punches, and have to wonder if, with how aggressive he's shown himself to be, if he really wants to go out, how much he wants to put on the line to go out there and try to claim the win tonight.
Absolutely. I'm trying to look to the field to see maybe who might be our biggest mover of the race so far. Right now, it's actually looking to be 48 Jack Bauer, started back around the 15th position. He now finds himself up to 7th. So a pretty good, strong run out of him, as well as, I was going to say Chris Bourgeois started 16th. He's actually running all the way back to 24th. Another driver who's been running pretty strong, Ronnie Strick Jr. He pitted a couple cautions ago. He now finds himself back up to the 8th position in that number 7 Chevrolet, as we possibly get set for another green flag attempt, but for how long, as the pace car light does go out. So we're going to go green once more the next time around.
I think this is one of the few first restarts where drivers are probably going to go in with the mindset of, you know, we don't have a lot of time left. I mean, we already saw it actually with John Kinder, that if he needs to, he has to be incredibly aggressive. That's just very much the nature of Martinsville Speedway. Still has about 4 spots for him to get back up to the lead, and he has to go through some very competitive cars to get there.
The field now doubled up once more. We've seen Winters do different restarts every time. How is he going to take it this time? Off of turn number 4, he waits a little bit longer, but stacks up the field and then slams that throttle and shifts it up. Grenier now going to go to the inside of Fritz. Now Fritz going to be stuck on the outside line. How well is that going to work as they run off of turn number 2? They're going to go side by side down the back straightaway, as now Grenier trying to take over the runner-up spot, as now Kinder trying to charge his way up, as he's now found himself back in that top 5 fight.
We look down on the paperclip from above, and right now the battle tends to be for the 2nd place, but now Kinder is looking to make it a 3-car fight for that 2nd position, as Winters continues to build up as much of a gap as possible, because I think that Kinder is going to be the one to challenge him if we get into a green flag run.
Kinder now with the runoff of turn number 4, not able to do much to number 15 Snap-on Ford Mustang as they make the run down to turn number 1 hard on the brakes. You've seen Kinder shifted all the way down to as much as second as they get the run off the corner. Still unable to do much. It looks like that was Ronnie Strick Jr. back there at the top of your screen coming off the corner who ran a little bit high. As again, there's a single filing out once more as now Scott Fritz, who we talked about, he's had a little bit of a run-in. As much of a roller coaster race as Casey Barlow had, wasn't all the way around, but fell all the way outside the top 10, had to fight all those back up, and now, in one of his best performances since the season openers, we are back under caution once again. Still, Fritz, an incredible run up to second, and we now have to see who's the cause. Ooh, in a parking lot involving Chris LaBourgeois, the 37, Joshua Abbey, Adam Lancaster, a whole mess of drivers going to bring out this caution.
From the sounds of it, it looks like it might have been Bryce Hunter who was the one that initially got turned around in turn 1 and 2. We head on to the entry, and Trineri does catch him. Trineri was running a little bit higher than you might expect from drivers on the inside line, and a couple more drivers will get collected as a result. And the field yet again has to come to a standstill in the middle of turns 1 and 2 here at Martinsville Speedway. It should be about 22 caution flags here at Martinsville so far.
You see them going almost 3 wide. Brian Terry down the bottom, Matt Trineri and 62 on behind with Bryce Hunter number 9. Off of turn number 4 they go. We're going to see just what might have caused it. I want to say that's more netcode. I don't think it was anything 62 did. It was just a little bit of netcode we've seen plague some of these drivers. Daniel Worthington nowhere to go. He door slams into the number 9 as his race has been going worse and worse and worse. Now you see number 18 running wide off of turn number 2, which might have been a little bit of a help for that just because of how much of the stack up there was. He was very much struggling with that car for that whole restart.
I believe Worthington might have gotten tagged from behind, which might have halted his attempts to avoid the accident. So now we'll see the initial accident occur, which sends Hunter around. And you do see a big, massive increase in momentum, which indicates Worthington might have gotten a little bit of help from behind there.
So under caution once more. Winners still your race leader with Fritz up there in second. Our 21st caution for 107 laps. So usually, Cup Series can use hard out. They took them 500 laps to get to about 23. It's only taken us 212 to get to 21. So we're going to break that record in half the time, as now the 52 still just counting away these laps. As now Robertson up to third, as it looks like John Kinder might have taken it down pit road for a fresh set of Goodyear Eagles to try and take him home to the finish. So he's going to surrender his position for a fresh set of Goodyear Eagles. He's going to go all the way back to 24th, as well as Matt Grenier and Casey Barlow followed him down pit road. So a very interesting pit strategy call by 3 of the front runners. That's very much going to shake up the running order.
If you want to see a very fun and intriguing back-to-the-front challenge, I think John Kinder is ready to put it all on the line here because he's only going to have about 35 laps in a race where we've seen a lot of caution flags, which might make it really difficult to gain spots if these caution flags end up being frequent. And not only that, but he is going into the midst of the chaos. We've seen a lot of the incidents occur, throughout all sectors of the field, but definitely near the middle portion of the pack.
Someone else we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. Who's he after going to go through to try and get up there? Alan Dobbs. He's running up around the 14th position. Going to be very interesting to see how Dobbs opts to run with them when he catches up to him, if he does in fact do so. Pace car lights back out on top of the Ford Mustang. Winners, still your race leader, Fritz, running an incredible second place. Brandon Robertson, third. Jack Bauer, fourth. And Wyatt Brackett in fifth. And how about Nick Mills in that Mills Insurance Agency number 46? He finds himself back there in sixth, which is an incredible turnaround race, as now the pace car through turns the field now through turns 3 and 4 as we wait to see how Winners takes this one. Very slow to corner. Now we're seeing a little bit of the same idea as he gasses on exit, and now Fritz catches him. He's going to hold on a second as they race it down to the 1. And now Brackett going to go around, and that's going to catch someone else behind him. They actually stay green.
Wow, I'm not sure who it was that got completely sideways. It might have been Mills, and as you said, but just incredible job all around. We've seen for all of the spins and cautions, we've seen an equivalent amount of incredible saves tonight. So great job all around there, and it just goes to show that incidents can occur anywhere here on the racetrack here at Martinsville Speedway. But we continue to follow this battle for the 3rd spot, the last spot on the podium. It's Jack Bauer, and he's hanging relatively tight on the outside line. Still off of the exit of 4. He does have to compromise that time, but it was not by much. So move Jack Bauer back down to the 4th position. He is on slightly older tires than Brandon Robertson, who has 15 laps pressure Goodyear Eagles.
We're seeing a lot of guys who have usually been mid-pack runners back towards around the 15 to 20. It's really making their names known. Since Jack Bauer was showing his face up there at the front, he has not left it. He still holds on to a strong forward. Talk about Scott Fritz, an incredible run in 2nd. And then driver like Matt Trineri, who has been having an up and down night, he still holds on to a strong 10th place run as we are back under yellow once again as we try to figure out who that is. It is the number 68 of Ryan Kendall that goes around this time, as now we're going to have to see what causes now what I believe is our 22nd caution here tonight at Martinsville.
So you can see that Kendall is already without his front bumper here at Martinsville Speedway. He's not alone in that category, and like we've seen a lot tonight, he goes off of he rather gets loose off of the exit of turn 4, and he doesn't catch the inside safety barrier, and he locks the brakes and maintains his position on the racetrack, which makes it very easy and predictable for drivers to avoid him, and as a result, he's the only one involved in that accident, so kudos there.
Yeah, only about one driver involved, and that was the guy who went around. It was a really interesting move by Grenier to go all the way down to the inside. I thought for sure that was going to get him sent all the way around, as now we were going to get an interview with last week's winner, Brandon Robertson, as we wait to bring him here up into the booth. Robertson, you got sent around past the halfway point, and you have been able to fight your way back up to 3rd. How's it been trying to tackle this half mile of mayhem here tonight?
Man, I need some insurance from Nick Mills Insurance, honestly, at this point, and I'm saving a ton of fuel. I'm gonna make it. That's the whole goal. Everybody keeps pitting, and we're in 3rd place here, so hopefully we'll get a top 3.
All right, well, we've seen a lot of drivers have different ideas on how to take these corners. Some people might be taking it in 4th. We've seen a lot of people have been shifting it down to 2nd. How has that been helping you if you are, in fact, doing that? And how is it really helping you throughout the entirety of this race?
I don't think anybody's shifting to 2nd or 3rd. I think that's just what's showing on the screen. I was watching that in practice. Man, if you're shifting to 2nd or even 3rd, you're gonna get super loose. It's a horrible idea.
All right, as well, we get ready to go back racing here once again. Just quickly, who do you have to give a shout out for your comeback race here tonight, all the way back up to 3rd, I should say?
Just thanks the Bluegrass iRacing series, obviously, and PitStop TV for putting a hell of a show on. I don't know what you guys have been talking about with all these cautions, but God bless you, man.
Thank you, we very much appreciate it. It's been as tough it is up here. I can't imagine how tough it is for you down there trying to get ready for all these restarts. Good luck on the next one, and hopefully we get to see some more out of you later in the race.
Definitely character building. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, that is your 3rd place runner, Brandon Robertson, as we do have a little bit of something here as we get ready for the restart. Pace car light gonna go out here this time by winner is gonna hold on to the race leads. Fritz again, a strong race there in 2nd, as we now complete our 22nd caution for 114 laps. 5 lead changes in total, as now they go down the back straightaway. And a little bit of an interesting history fact with this caution that does in fact tie the record from what happened last season, including the 2 green-white checkers. So currently on track to break the record of the same track a couple months later, as now winners going to get the restart. Fritz actually holds on to the outside as they're almost 3 wide towards the 8th position as they make their way down to turn number 1. And Fritz now actually poking out with the race lead off of turn number 2, as it looks like he might actually have a chance to lead a lap.
They're still side by side through 3 and 4. My concern for Fritz is he might have beat the 52 for the line, and iRacing might penalize him as a result. I don't think he was the one in control, if I might be mistaken, but Fritz continues to command on the outside. He might be able to clear the 52 off of turn 2, still side by side down the back straightaway.
This is the best race start we've seen of anybody who's been able to go on the outside. Everybody usually just falls in behind. Fritz is the first person we've seen been able to hold it up there and run with the leaders. We now have a side-by-side fight between the number 1 and the number 52 as he finally clears him, and judging by the fact that he's able to stay out. Oh, and we do have a caution, in fact, which is good news for Fritz. He's going to be able to lead a few more laps, but now we have about broken the record for most cautions as we now wait to see the cause of this caution. It looks to be the 42 of Ed Osborne.
Osborne, a loyal member of the Bluegrass iRacing Series, just has been having a very poor night so far here at Martinsville Speedway, and we believe this might be the cause of the incident around the 42. It's ahead of him. It's Kinder, who's been in control so much tonight. He's been having a very strong season, 5th in points entering tonight. A little bit of contact with a fellow competitor, and I think his run at victory might come to an early end. It's going to be a long way to get up the leaderboard at this point for Kinder. We'll backtrack a little bit and see what caused the incident completely.
The 83 of Chris LeBourgeois looks to be the car that he makes contact with that sends him around as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. He makes the run off the corner. It looks like LeBourgeois just gets a little bit loose and sadly side swipes number 21, and that's what walls him nose first. And now doesn't look to be a whole lot of damage done to that number 21, as now you see the onboard. Doesn't look to be a whole lot of damage, but now the tempers are going to be rising inside the number 21, as we've seen him be aggressive already throughout most of the race. With the remaining about 30 laps, I can imagine how well it's going to be voting for anybody who's going to be behind, in front of this number 21, as he's going to try and make a mad charge up to the lead. And along with that, we're going to have a chance to interview with the number 21 of John Kinder. Well, John, we talked to you a little bit earlier about how well your race is going. Fast forward about a couple of laps, it seems to be luck's not following your side. How has it been trying to tackle through this field to go back to the front?
Well, Noggle, this is the second time he's run over me in a race, and I guess he's still not here making friends. So that kind of got us behind the 8 ball here. I don't know. We made it back up there, but we don't have a whole lot of time left, and we'll just see how it plays out.
We came so close to having a shot up there at the front. What is going to be your game plan now to try and maybe salvage a top 10 finish here in this race, or maybe possibly steal back a chance at that win?
Well, pretty much just got to dodge all the bullets right now and try to stay clean the rest of the race, but it's proven to be pretty difficult.
All right, well, before I let you go here, who do you want to give a quick shout out to for how much of the race has gone here tonight and how you've been able to keep this car on track?
Well, again, thank you guys, and thank Bluegrass. It's a fun series, and of course Rims 1 and Ghostface. If you're ever in Mooresville, need tires or wheels, go to Rims 1 or go grab a pizza at Ghostface and a cold beer.
Absolutely. It sounds like a great idea after tonight. Good luck out there, and hopefully you're able to salvage a little bit more to have a little bit of a happier mood towards the end of this race.
I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. So that's going to be John Kinder, currently running back in the 19th position as he tries to salvage a little bit of this race. Pace car getting ready to make the hard left turn. Now a new face at the front of Scott Fritz. It's now the number 1 and 1, the number 2 and 2, and if it was one position higher, it would have been number 3 and 3. Numerical, you gotta love it. As now they come off of turn number 4, it's gonna be Scott Fritz in the race lead. He's now gonna get a good jump on the start, but so does Robertson. He's gonna hold to the outside. He catches the outside wall, and then they're gonna go side by side. It looks like he's gonna run it wide, which is gonna allow a 3 wide fight per second off of 2.
Still 3 wide down the back straightaway, and I think we're without winners, which indicates he might be low on fuel, might have realized he might not have enough to get to the end because he did pit. So we're now side by side for the 3rd position, and Shark Jr. looking back for the lead, and it's already causing Frisk to defend to the middle of the racetrack.
Here comes now Dobbs taking a dive to the outside. He's going to go side by side with Shirk off of turn number 2. Going up. Oh my goodness, that was a hard hit for Robertson. It's going to obviously cause our 24th caution of the race as the laps just keep ticking. As we have now entered 20 to go. And it looks like a huge melee down the back straightaway, but that was hard contact for Robertson, who just plowed the outside wall with that nose, that Chevrolet. We're going to have to see just how that happened.
So we backtrack a little bit. We do see that very strong battle for the lead ahead of Robertson, but then we come off of the exit of turn 2. And for the first time tonight, I think we see a driver get loose and cause an incident as a result of getting loose. Going to collect the likes of Nick Mills, Matt Trineri, and several others down the entire back straightaway at Martinsville Speedway. A lot of calamity here so far tonight.
Looking now from atop of the press box off of turn number 4, you see Nick Mills back there missing the front bumper, as well as Matt Trineri. You see Nathan Maurer in the 97 as the two just got a little bit loose off of turn number 2, steered to the right, overcorrected, and pow, right in the kisser. He's going to get plowed in behind from Matt Trineri, and then they just park it. They open a parking garage down in the back straightaway involving all 3 of those drivers, as that's now going to shove the number 2 all the way to the back. That might have helped Kinder a little bit, depending on where he played out in all of that. He's now back inside the top 20. So he started 19th. He finds himself all the way up to 15th. So maybe a little bit better for him. He now has Adam Lancaster, buddy of his, who's actually going to go down pit road. So now it's going to move him up to 14th. As now we're going to have a chance to get a word with Wyatt Brackett running in the 4th position. If we get him up here into the booth for that, I'll give it over to Trey Shuttlesworth.
So Wyatt Brackett, we haven't talked about you too much in the booth. It's been a relatively quiet night from our perspective, but what have been the keys to securing a top 5 finish, or not a top 5 finish, a top 5 spot with only 15 laps to go?
I just trying to hang out within the top 10 most of the day and stay out of all the trouble. I've been caught up a little bit, got a little bit of damage, but I don't think it's enough to hold me back, and I got probably the newest tires up here in the top 5, so let's hope we can run it to the end and get that victory.
That's a good point you bring up about your fresh tires. How aggressive do you feel you might have to be here on this restart, knowing that we're gonna could potentially have even more caution flags?
I just got to get the next position so I can start on the inside line next caution. So hopefully I can get the shot at first place and control the rest of the cautions from here on out.
So based off of that, you'd probably rather see at least one more yellow to give you that 3rd place spot, and that would probably be the best position to be in.
Agreed. If that doesn't happen, I'm probably going to get freight train down low. So I got to get down low quick and hope to get that 3rd place position before the next caution comes out.
All right, Wyatt, assuming we're coming to the one to go here, appreciate you speaking to us here in the PitStop TV booth. Anyone you want to thank out there for your strong run so far tonight?
I want to thank my team for working with me and talking strategy the whole race. If it wasn't for those guys, I wouldn't be up here.
All right, thank you, Wyatt, and good luck out there in the final 12 laps here.
Thank you.
That's Wyatt Brackett, currently running in 4th, has a little bit of work to do, but he's in a relatively good spot here with the right circumstances.
Someone else is in a very good spot. Scott Fritz and Alan Dobbs, as now we complete a 24th caution for 124 laps. So again, we broke the record probably in real life and in game for the series, as now with the final 10 laps approaching, the gloves come off, even if depending if they're even on to begin with. Off of turn number 4, Fritz going to hold on to the race lead. He's going to get the jump on Alan Dobbs. He's going to have the best case scenarios here. Shirk going to send it to the inside, as they're going to go wheel to wheel through turns 1 and 2, as Fritz going to try and pack it and try and run away with this race lead, as Brackett now possibly trying to look for 3rd.
The bad news for Scott Fritz is that Shirk Jr. is already clear of Alan Dobbs off of the exit of turn 2. We go through the middle of 3 and 4, and the battle is between the top 2 for the lead right now, because 3rd place, it is Wyatt Brackett looking to get that 3rd place and hoping for that caution, as he said a little bit earlier in our interview.
Dobbs looking to use the bumper a little bit on the number 7. He looked like he was about ready to move. He might try here. He does. He gives him a shot, but Shirk is having none of it. But who is going to have all of it? Fritz. He is spreading that lead, as we have now approached 10 laps to go. So now the fight for 2nd raging on between Ronnie Shirk and Alan Dobbs. We've seen Dobbs being able to use that bumper successfully on a couple of drivers, especially last week, which might have been a little bit of cost for what we saw between Kinder and Dobbs early in the race, as now they make their way off of turn number 4, as we are back under caution yet again.
This will make it 25 caution flags, and pending the amount of green by checkers we have, it'll mean that we've had officially more yellow flag laps than green flag laps here tonight at the Martinsville Speedway. And this time it looks like it is going to be David Brackett in the 38 car who gets loose off the exit of turn 2. So it's an inverse of what we saw earlier in the race, where drivers were getting loose off of turn 4. Perhaps it could be a change in track conditions that are causing guys to get loose off of 2 instead of 4.
So now you're going to see the number 38 Alienware, who had fallen down the track. As now you talked about the weather possibly changing. Now we're going to see it again as the wind has very much picked up all the way up to 12 miles an hour. Air temperature at 71 degrees, track temp at 74. So not much has changed, but with how the track's varying and where the rubber is setting in is obviously causing a lot of headaches. As now we're finally going to bring in our race leader, Scott Fritz, as we wait to bring him up here into the booth. Well, Scott, you've had possibly one of the best nights of your career here in Bluegrass so far since the season opener last year at Daytona. How has it been leading this race here with about 7 laps to go?
Well, I don't think I've breathed for the last probably 20 laps here. My heart's beating out my chest, but mainly because I'm sitting here 30 out of 31 on 1X away from a penalty. But we'll see if we can hold them off here. They got a little fresher tires than me, so see what we can do.
We've been seeing you play these restarts very well. You've been able to force a little bit of Dobbs and Shirk to go side by side and fight for second while you try to run away with it. What is your plans here for possibly the next few restarts to get this win and get your first career win in the Bluegrass iRacing Series?
Well, I was trying to learn there a little bit when I was running second to Justin, and he was kind of playing games with me. He'd go at a different point every time, so they were always guessing, and that's kind of what I've been trying to do here to try and keep them from getting up beside me going into one.
All right, well, before I let you go here to maybe get a chance to breathe here for this next restart, who do you have to thank real quick for how your race has gone here tonight?
I got to thank T-Berry Motorsports, Raise Energy, Wrath Racing, and SF Designs, and just everyone at Bluegrass for putting this on.
All right, well, that sounds great. Good luck here on the final restart, and hopefully you're able to put on a show for us up here in the booth.
All right, thank you.
That is going to be your race leader, Scott Fritz. He is going to lead the field back to the green as we are about at 2 to go, I believe. As now Shirk going to hold on to second. Alan Dobbs still holding on to a strong run in third. White Bracket back there in fourth. Casey Barlow in fifth, but don't look too far behind because there's Nicholas Noggle in the 08. He's running back there in the sixth position, creeping up towards leader as they now double up for hopefully might be the last time here tonight.
We look at the first 3 rows here, and the guys on the freshest Goodyear Eagles are Wyatt Brackett. He only has 44-lap old tires. And then in 5th place, Casey Barlow has 35-lap old tires, followed by Noggle, but Noggle also doesn't have a rerun. All the guys up front are on relatively older tires, particularly Scott Fritz. He's running on 104-lap old tires and hanging on to a probably near empty fuel tank.
Now completing lap caution number 25 as they bring it off of turn number 4. Scott Fritz holding on to the race lead. He's going to get on the gas, have a huge jump on the restart. Now Shirk possibly going to take a move to the inside. Dobbs trying to make a move, is not going to go anywhere, and the fight still rages on for a second as Scott Fritz sends it home with a strong run up the straightaway to hold on to that race lead.
We see Brackett really wash up the racetrack, and it's going to mean a lot of difficulty for him to get back up to the lead. He's currently fighting for the 5th spot, but it is going to be another yellow flag, and I think this will send us past our predetermined race distance of 250 laps. We'll be looking at overtime racing at Martinsville Speedway.
It looks to be Brian Terry, number 13, one of the drivers involved in that, losing the back bumper of the number 13 machine. As you see him running with Ryan Kendall, Justin Winters, and John Kinder, all major front-runner names been stuck back there as they send it in to turn number 3. And a little bit of netcode caused that. And that's going to take out Justin Winters, and that is heartbreak for the 52 after how well of a run he has had at the pit to get it to the end. But sadly, that's going to ruin his night as he gets on board with the Allen's Body Shop Chevrolet.
Yeah, Noah, as you said, probably terminal damage for Justin Winters, but in the least, he's made it this far, so he won't lose a ridiculous amount of spots where I think he wasn't actually... I believe he was actually running near the back end of the top set, so he will lose probably about 10 or 15 points, and you can see very little he could actually do there.
And now we're going to bring in the driver of the number 52, Justin Winters. Justin, heartbreak under this last caution. You now find yourself back in about the 23rd position, so not too far back, but what was going out your window and what did you see to try to have a chance at avoiding that number 13?
I saw him come from nowhere, so there's nothing I can do. He came, I think, through the grass maybe, or that's what it seemed like anyways.
Well, with the damage that you have now, you find yourself in a very tough spot back there outside the top 20. How do you see this last restart playing out to maybe salvage a couple more spots with hopefully maybe a couple more green-white checkers to add on and boost yourself up?
Stay out of the wrecks that are probably about to happen, and who knows? I mean, maybe we get a top 15. That'd be miraculous.
All right, well, as you get ready for what might be the last restart, who do you have to thank for how your race has gone on, seeing how you've led 42 laps here tonight?
Allen's Body Shop, Boost Manufacturing, and Huffman Design, like always.
All right, well, good luck here on the final restart. Hopefully you're able to salvage a little bit more out of this race, and hopefully you get to see some good highlights out of here in these last 3 laps.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for what you're doing.
Thank you for what you're doing. That's going to be the number 52 of Adjusted Winners. Obviously not in the highest of spirits right now as we get set for the 1 degree mark. First overtime finish. We have now hit the lap caution number 26 as Ricky Bobby has put that evil on us, and now we have just been seeing more and more cautions as now the pace car lights are going to go off. So Fritz, now your leader, new challenger on the outside, is going to go to Alan Dobbs. Ronnie Shark Jr. falls back to 3rd, but maybe see a little bit of payback for the little bumps that the 3 were trying to give him. And how about this? Casey Barlow in number 51 of the half and half days, a Thunder throwback, as he finds himself up there in 4th with a chance to maybe steal a win here in Martinsville.
The fun thing is, regardless, we will be getting our first-time winner for the season here in the Bluegrass iRacing Series. Going to be a lot of fun here. Hopefully we get this finished under the green flag conditions.
Scott Fritz now off of turn number 4 for what might be the final time. First restart overtime, as now Fritz going to get a huge jump. Alan Dobbs gets caught sleeping, as now he's going to get stuck behind Ronnie Shark Jr., who tries to give the bumper as he tries to defend from Alan Dobbs. As now down the back straightaway with 2 laps to go, he is in a good spot to get this win.
Aggression very high, and it looks like we are coming out of turn 4, meaning we will get the white flag. Race is official. Fritz gets loose off of 4. We're going to have a fight for the lead. 3 cars for it.
Oh no, heartbreak for the 1, and a huge wreck as they stack it up in turn number 1. But who is the big winner? We talked about it. He started in 4th. He's going to bring it home under yellow. It's going to be Casey Barlow coming off of turn number 4, checkered flag in the air. They're actually going to race it back to the line. It is going to be Casey Barlow taking the win. Nicholas Noggle going to hold on to 2nd. And how about this? John Kinder with the incredible comeback. He takes home 3rd. And our producer, you can't hear him. He's losing it up here in the booth. Oh, my goodness. What a finish of a race that was. Heartbreak. Almost the entire top 5 was taken out in that turn 1 parking lot wreck. But now Casey Barlow, a first-time winner in the Bluegrass iRacing Series, he's trying to find a place to possibly do a burnout, but with all the cars still on the track, he doesn't have a chance.
Left purely speechless. Given the calamity of the night, I guess... I don't know. It's very tough to say, to find words to describe what happened there, but all around, congratulations to Casey Barlow. He was very simply in the right place at the right time. And you can see at the time, he's running near the back end of the top 5, which just goes to show how massive that wreck was up front. And then behind him, Casey Barlow does not have a rear bumper, and then behind those 2, John Kinder's car is even more mangled. What an incredible podium. We are watching the replay and seeing the cause of the incident. Just a lot of aggressive action, and all of the top 4 get collected, including even more behind them.
Yeah, you see there, if we can get a chance again to look at the runoff of turn number 4. It all started in turn number 3. He got a little bit too excited. He saw that he was in the clear. Was a little bit excited entering turn number 3, and he just ran it a little bit too wide and overcooked the corner. And then sadly he was taken out in that, and Casey Barlow actually had to run it all the way back to the start finish line to fend off Nicholas Noggle. You're going to see exactly where he was. But turn number 4, you see there right there, Fritz gets a little wide off of 4. Dobbs and Shark Jr. fighting hard. Dobbs dives down to the inside. You can't make 3 wide work in 1 lane, and then that just sends all 3 of them around. Fritz bounced off the wall. Dobbs bounces in front of Brackett. Barlow dives to the inside with the smallest margin he could have found, and he holds on to it. But look who all these drivers take out. And again, Worthington finds himself with nowhere to go. But it takes out a huge amount of drivers who had such a clean race. And sadly, I want to see what actually happened to the 55 and all of that, because he actually escaped second, but sadly I was not going to have a replay for that. But heartbreak for 55, who could have come home second. You see, he does get a little contact from the 08, spinning him to the inside wall. And he's going to have to take home whatever position he has. But man, what a finish to an absolutely insane race at Martinsville. I was talking about the gloves coming off. Well, I guess they were never on to begin with, because that is absolutely why this track has been labeled the half mile of mayhem.
Go back to the conclusion of the race, and you see that Noggle, despite the fact that he did get the 55 between him and Barlow, makes up a lot of ground and is nearly in the position to pull off a bump and run move coming to the start-finish line. But I think given the circumstances, the top three are all very happy with where they finished tonight. Even looking beyond them, guys like Wes Wiggin, he had a lot of struggles tonight. He'll come home in the 4th position. While Jack Bauer was as high as, about the 2nd or 3rd position, I'm sure he'll be happy to escape with the top 5. I think, all around, if you're able to walk away with the top 10 for a lot of these drivers, it'll be a pretty decent points haul. Still a long way to go in the championship. However, the calamity may not be over. We'll be heading to Richmond Raceway, another short track where, tempers are known to flare from time to time at the racetrack. It can be a clean race. It could be a race with a lot of calamity. All around, though, Richmond is a track that is very raceable. Should be a lot of fun next week.
Absolutely. As now we're going to send it home for a commercial break real quick. Stay tuned with us. We have an absolutely action-packed post-race show as we get ready to wrap up here at Martinsville. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. You do not want to miss this.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas, and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Welcome back, race fans, to PitStop TV's live coverage of the post-race show here at Martinsville Speedway. Well, I don't really have words to describe it, so we're just going to jump straight in to post-race interviews after this incredible finish to the Bluegrass iRacing Series here at Martinsville Speedway for round 3. We're going to start it off with your race winner, Case. Oh, first off, before we do any of that, we're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, especially for the series. We're going to start off with Rims One Wheels, Tires, and Accessories. And also going to give a shout out to Milner Media and Design, 2 great series sponsors that were able to back them up here for this race here tonight. Also want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors as well of Tucson Sound Art. Be sure to, if you do opt to order something from Tucson Sound Art, one of their great quality products that their built-in Bluetooth speakers on their framed images, be sure to use the code PitStop TV for 10% off your order. Trust me, you won't regret it. It is an incredible product. Also give a shout out to Permanent Makeup in Maine. And lastly, give a shout out to our parent organization, Whiplash Media. And with that, we're going to go straight into the post-race interviews. We're going to start off with our race winner, Casey Barlow. Casey, we talked to you. You were running back towards the top 10. You had an incredible run, and you bring that Days of Thunder home for your first career win. Just take us through the emotions of that last lap.
Man, it was, yeah, that last lap was something else. You know, honestly, I was pretty content with taking a top 5 there, just trying to hold that top line, get a good run out onto the straights so I could, you know, maintain position, really maybe pick up 1 there. Saw the I believe it was the 1 car get loose coming out of 4. 7 and 3 went to the inside going into 1, and I just tried to back up at that point to hopefully avoid it, and sure enough, drove through it.
Well, you bring home now your first win of the Bluegrass iRacing Series and your about 3rd start. Just how does that feel getting it done this early in your career here on the series, and also now contending yourself as a champion in the postseason?
It feels great, man. It feels great to lock myself into the playoffs here this early on. Now we can go out there the rest of the season and just, you know, fight for stage points, fight for some more wins out there. I definitely feel like, you know, I belong here amongst this group of guys and hopefully amongst that top 5 or so guys. And just keep trying to work hard, race people clean, but hard.
All right, and looking forward to the schedule. You go to Richmond next, another pretty tough to tame short track. How do you feel going into that one as you prepare for the next race here in the state of Virginia?
You know, Richmond, I feel good about Richmond. Honestly, you know, it's another small track. You know, you got that, you know, big oval front stretch. It's going to create some exciting racing for sure. It's definitely going to be a situation of making it till the end. But you know, if you make it to I feel like if you keep the car pretty clean and make it to the end, you know, you'll have a shot in pretty much all of these races.
All right, before I let you go here to enjoy the rest of the night, who do you have to thank for your first career win here in the Bluegrass iRacing Series?
Well, I want to start by thanking Bluegrass, the Bluegrass iRacing series, PitStop TV for doing the broadcast. I want to thank, my company, Okami Brand. Big shout out to those guys. And then, yeah, I mean, just iRacing in general, man.
All right, well, congrats on your first career win. Hopefully we see the exact same stuff out of you next week at Richmond. Congratulations, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
All right, that's going to be our race winner, Casey Barlow. And now I'm going to hand it over to Trey Shuttlesworth, who is caught up with our runner-up, Nicholas Noggle.
Thank you, Noah. Nicholas Noggle, pleasure to have you in the booth tonight here at PitStop TV. So, very simply, you had a night all over the leaderboard, and how does it feel to come away second place, getting out of the virtual cockpit for the first time?
It's pretty good. I knew how this race always ends up going. I wasn't too concerned about where I was at until about the white flag.
All right. Otherwise, you had a rough night. We're involved in a couple of incidents. What kind of mindset did you maintain in order to... I mean, you kind of already alluded to it, but what kind of mindset did you maintain throughout the night to essentially say that, you know, we're not done despite the fact that you had a decent amount of damage?
I mean, the fact of the matter is, I'm just here to have fun every Wednesday night, so where we finish. But I mean, I just kept a good attitude, and I'm just going to keep making the best of it I can, and it's Martinsville. I mean, like I said, you know that coming down to the green-white checkered, something always happens. I mean, look at the last time we raced here. We came out on top after running a lap down just because of all the cautions, so you gotta keep your head up and just keep pushing forward and get the best you can get.
Yep, that's a good point. Definitely in the nature of the beast here at Martinsville, here in Virginia. So, otherwise, what was your situation in terms of tires and gas there at the end of the race? I know there were a couple guys that did have to come down for pit road for some fuel near the end of the race.
Yeah, we were trying to play strategy, so we had pretty fresh tires at the end. But as the run went on, we were realizing that tire fall-off didn't seem to be a big deal. It wasn't really affecting us much, so pretty much played it so that I could take fuel in about 70 to go, I'd say, and that we knew we'd make it on that. So it was a stay-out strategy to the front and stay there.
Kudos for utilizing track position then for the most part tonight. So otherwise, coming into tonight, what's your practice regimen look like to prepare for Martinsville?
I jumped in about 3 practice sessions with these boys, and that was about it. It was more getting used to running around the boys than it was racing around the track. Unfortunately, with the big update today and the tire model changes and stuff, it was a whole different beast today. It was a lot slipperier than we'd been used to.
All right, and then one last question for you, Nicholas. What is your mindset heading into Richmond? What are you hoping to achieve in the 4th round of the series?
Unfortunately, with the first 2 races not going the best, I'm definitely points racing now, just trying to make sure that I have enough points buffer, but at the same point in time, I'm also trying to get that win. If I could get a win early in the season, it would be nice to be locked into the championship and not have to worry about it.
All right, Nicholas, before you head out then, any sponsors, friends, family you'd like to thank for your runner-up finish tonight?
Yeah, I just got to thank Brycon and Mobile One and all the guys that make it happen every week. I mean, those are the boys that let me do what I love, so I got to thank them, and I got to thank everyone that keeps tuning in every week.
All right, thank you, Nicholas. Congratulations, and enjoy the second place finish tonight.
Thank you very much.
That is Nicholas Noggle. He'll finish runner-up here tonight in the Bluegrass iRacing Series.
All right, and I'll wrap it up with P2. We're now going to bring home P3 to surprise John Kinder after an incredible comeback. Well, John, the last time I talked to you, you were not in the best of moods after being sent to the back. You come home, and now you take home a 3rd. How is that going to feel for you?
Well, first I gotta say sorry to Brian Terry, man. I didn't mean to get in the back of him there. He checked up, and I got in the back of him. It was completely my fault, and kind of ruined his race. And so I feel bad about that, and everybody else that got caught up in it. But I'd like to say congratulations to Casey. It's great to see one of the new guys get into victory lane. And so it was an all right night. I got lucky at the end, so we'll have to take it and go on to Richmond.
Well, coming on to that last lap, we've seen a lot of drivers get through that. You're actually running up there towards the 8th position. What was the reaction to try and get through that, along with the 55 spinning down the back straightaway trying to avoid him?
Yeah, I saw everybody go in there. I knew it was going to get wild there at the end. There was some really aggressive driving going on, and So I knew it was going to get exciting. I just got lucky that everything went up and I was on the bottom.
All right, well, now looking forward to Richmond. You came out of here leading 122 laps. You now head to another pretty tricky short track. What do you have to look forward to try and maybe copy this run there, except maybe bring it home a win next week?
Well, if I remember right, Brandon was really fast there last time we were there, so be trying to match pace with him. Adam and I, we work a lot on trying to get faster each week, so hopefully we'll be fast enough when we get there.
All right, well, before I let you go here to enjoy this third place comeback, who do you have to thank for your race here tonight and how to get to keep this car on the racetrack?
Well, for the first time, I got halfway money, so Rims 1 gave me some halfway money, so I got to thank them. Thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast, and, of course, Bluegrass. And once again, Brian, I'm sorry. It was my fault, and I apologize, man. I had to ruin your night.
All right, well, congratulations on a third-place finish, and hopefully you're able to have a little bit more luck on your side next week in Richmond.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that will wrap up our post-race interviews here tonight. That as now we get ready to close it out. Well, it's been an absolutely incredible race here, Trey. Just do you have any closing thoughts before we get ready to send it for the post-race results?
Just a couple of things. First of all, Casey Barlow leads one lap and is the final lap, so an incredible job there. And it just goes to show that, sometimes execution is very critical, and he did the job, just avoided those accidents there at the end, and he was in the right position. Then otherwise, kudos to everyone for hanging around, whether it was drivers, race control, people watching the live stream, or us in the broadcast booth. It was a long one tonight. It happens sometimes, but always fun to come to the paperclip.
Absolutely. And with that being said, let's now give it the post-race result rundown. Obviously, your race winner going to the number 51 of Casey Barlow, as you talk about, led only one lap, and that was the final lap. Finishing in P2 is the driver number 08, Toyota of Nicholas Nagel. P3 is going to be the 21 of John Kinder. Finishing back in fourth is we're going to find the 88 of Wes Wiggin. Fifth was one of his best finishes of his career. It's the 48 of Jack Bauer. Finishing in sixth is going to be number 15 of Matt Grenier. Seventh is where you're going to find the number 9 of Bryce Hunter. Finishing eighth after an incredible comeback after getting wrecked on the last lap is going to be number 7 of Ronnie Shirk Jr. Finishing ninth is going to be the number 18 of Gary Jezorski. And then finishing 10th is going to be the number 46 of Nick Mills.
We then look beyond the top 10 to guys who still picked up a pretty solid points haul. Brendan Robertson was in a good scenario near the back end of the race, but things don't go his way. He will finish 11th, and he'll be behind Daniel Worthington, who really couldn't catch a break tonight whatsoever, unfortunately. David Brackett will finish in the 13th position, followed by CJ Mason, who really quietly sneaks in there with a top 15 finish, followed by Ed Osborne. Justin Winters, unfortunately, will come away with 16th place for following his strong run tonight, and he'll be followed by Ryan Kendall, who finished third last week at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Chris Lavourgeois, he came into tonight with a 17th place points pickup. Might not be as big of a pickup tonight here as he finishes 18th, followed by Wyatt Brackett and Scott Fritz, who will come home 20th. He was leading at the white flag.
Now looking back through 21st through 30th, we're going to find the number 97 of Nathan Maurer. Finishing 22nd, also a lap down, is going to be the number 01 of Dakota Shepard. Finishing 23rd after running third on the last lap is going to be number 3 of Alan Dobbs. Finishing 24th is going to be the number 62 of Matt Chineri. Finishing 25th is going to be the number 13 of Brian Terry. 26th, we're going to find the number 37 of Alex Brown. 27 is going to be the number 71 of Michael Brisson. 28 is where you'll find the number 28 of Adam Lancaster. Finishing 29th is going to be the number 77 of Doug Neal. And then in 30th is going to find the number 5 of Joshua Abbey. And then your last two on the grid, number 91 of Ryan Smith, who finishes at 150 laps down. And then last on the field, number 96 of Dylan Butler, finishing 190 laps down. Well, it's been an absolutely incredible race, and A long one at that. So with that being said, I guess that's going to do it here for us here at PitStop TV. We thank you for tuning in for tonight's coverage of the Bluegrass iRacing Series. We have PitStop TV. Thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action. We hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Be sure to join us again Monday night. Actually, no. Be sure to join us again next week for the Bluegrass iRacing Series as we head off to Richmond Raceway. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/PitStopTV, on Twitter at PitStopTV_, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, and on YouTube by just simply searching PitStop TV. Follow PitStop TV. Trey Shuttlesworth with me on the mic, Andrew Carnelli IV up in the booth, Corey Rexford on social media, and I'm Noah Carmichael. And we thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.